Yeah, I don't think he hears you.
Oh, okay. Well, that sucks. Well, he'll come back. Everyone, somebody knows. Dalton knows you, Flo. Sup, Flo?
What's up, Dalton?
Okay.
So,
All the guys always show up on time, and all the girls.
uh-huh.
All the girls don't. Makes me so sad.
Do it.
Man.
Do we want to go right into the topic
No.
of the title of the stream, or you got videos? To play first?
Let me pull up the video. We can discuss
Okay.
it after I pull the video. I just want to make sure Gray Pill gets on. All right. Well, we're gonna find this video. Where is it? Okay. So I was talking about how I find videos
Why do I
often,
need to ask?
and a lot of these videos are always specifically geared towards talking about one gender. Sometimes it fits. Sometimes I think like when I listen to these, the one I'm gonna pull up. Let me know if you guys feel like this is exclusive only to women, or is it women and men? And then we can kind of go around the rosier after that. So hopefully, Gray Pill, I hope you can see this because the show got to get going. It's 9:35, big boy. All right. How do we do this? There we go.
Hey, why do I need to ask my wife 10 times what's wrong before she'll finally tell me? My guess would be safety and trust. Safety and what now? Well, she doesn't trust that you're a safe place for her to share. Yeah, but why? Well, it could be a number of different things, maybe even going all the way back to her childhood. But let's rule out a few obvious ones. Where'd you get a clipboard? You don't even live here. Do you have a habit of invalidating her feelings or experience? I don't even know what you are those words? Okay, we'll just put maybe for that one. Okay. Number 2, do you ever dismiss her as too emotional, too sensitive, or making a big deal about nothing? Only if she's being irrational. Okay, check. And we can probably change that, maybe. Our check's good. Number 3, if she has the courage to share something in a respectful and vulnerable way, do you immediately get defensive, shut down, or feel unfairly attacked? Okay, I see. Everything is my fault. No, it's not about fault. I mean, you asked me why she's hesitant to share. I'm simply telling you what might be influencing that. Oh, so she's allowed to blame me for all of her feelings. No, of course she still plays a role in bringing up her feelings in a healthy way without criticism or passive aggressiveness and taking responsibility for them. Thank you. The question is, do you understand how your words and actions could negatively affect your partner? And if she brings it up in a vulnerable way, can you receive it with respect and validation? Okay, so once again, she's right and I'm wrong. No, this isn't about right and wrong. This is about honoring and valuing someone that we love enough to encourage them to be honest about what's going on inside of them. Oh. It's also about healing our own wounds, because so often I would hear my partner say that I'm a bad partner when really all she said was, can you love me in a different way? And what we don't realize is that we unintentionally discourage them from sharing when we get defensive, or we default to dismissing them or counterblaming or escalating this into a fight. That makes sense. Those things break trust and create an environment where someone doesn't feel safe to share. It essentially punishes their vulnerability and pushes them away. So how could I be more validating? Yeah, so we can lead with curiosity first and try to understand their perspective or feelings before trying to share our side. Okay, we can genuinely say things like, your perspective matters to me, your feelings are valid even if I don't fully understand them. It makes sense why you would feel that way. Yeah, but what if it doesn't make sense why she feels that way? Well, first, it's important to remember that you're not the judge of whether someone's allowed to feel something or not. And I'm not saying we should act on all of our feelings, but all feelings are real. And you're saying all this builds safety and trust. It's certainly a great start. Okay. Hey, how'd you get so smart? Oh, years of failure.
I don't know about you guys, but I actually really enjoyed that video.
He was telling some truth. He was telling some truth.
I feel that last part. That years of failure.
I thought it was stressful to watch.
What? Okay, so
kind of...
I thought it was like pretty accurate. I think it simplified a lot of complex situations into like a bullet point, in my opinion. So when you guys hear the word feelings, what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear feelings? Let's start with the last person that came in, Damien, Riddell, and then Flow State.
Feelings. Wow, that's a very vague question. What are feelings?
Well, the reason why I say that is because when people hear feelings, you either think like it's important, do you think it's negative? Like, what comes to your mind the minute you hear like, okay, you need to address feelings, you need to acknowledge feelings?
Yeah, I don't think they're negative or positive, whatever. I think they just are, and that it's how you let them color your way of thinking, or the way you move is the outcome of those feelings is what could be negative or positive. If you feel mad, if you find some way to be introspective and think about it and kind of work your way through it, it's fine. If you feel mad and you punch somebody in the face, it's negative. So it all depends on what you do with those feelings that determine the ultimate. The feelings are just, they're there. Like you said, they're true, they're real, but you determine how you react to those feelings. And I just want to go back one thing. It's funny because it almost sounded like years and years ago, my wife, we when we were having a tough time, went to therapy, and it's almost verbatim what I remember the person that we talked about, that what we were talking about. It was like, but their thing was the two words were, the three words were perspective, safe, and voice. Like for example, my wife wanted to make sure that I wanted to make sure my wife always has a voice in decisions and stuff like that. She feels heard. She doesn't feel like walked all over, what have you. And that creates a space of safety where she can express her emotions without feel of like being put down or what have you. And the word for me was safe. I want to make sure, because historically it's not been a safe place for men to just express their feelings, because there's been all kinds of scrutiny attached on up, and also kind of expectations on how men are supposed to deal with their feelings. And
I'll actually get back to that point after everybody makes their statement.
Okay, sorry.
No. I just want to highlight that because I like what you just said there. Riddell, your thoughts on when you hear the word feelings?
So basically, my personal understanding in terms of feelings and emotions, I kind of coincided with it as instincts personally. It's something that is reactionary based off some external stimulus that makes you act a particular way, oftentimes without logic. Like Damien said earlier, it's on you how you react to the feelings once they happen for the most part. But that's the key part. Being able to understand the emotions, being able to understand the feelings, being able to understand how to react to these things are very pivotal, not only for you as an individual to move across society in general, but especially when it comes to understanding not only yourself, but your partners, so you can have a healthy relationship. And it obviously goes beyond relationships, like a romantic one. But these are important things to understand. That way you don't find yourself in situations beyond your control. So, yeah, it's very important to really understand this stuff, basically.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Flow State, your thoughts and opinions.
When I hear the word feelings, I'm not gonna lie, I just got kind of a negative connotation to it, not because I think that feelings are bad, but because whenever the word is invoked, you don't have to talk about good feelings, right? You only have to talk about the annoying ones or the bad ones, or when you have to manage them. So I think that I agree that they're instinctual. I don't agree that all feelings are real or valid. I think that your feelings can be mistaken, and then if more information comes into the picture, your feelings should change with it. I don't think all feelings are valid. I think that some feelings are invalid and should be dismissed by yourself if they're yours, or
Well, can you expand on that when you say that you should ignore some feelings? Like I think in the video they said like feelings are real. So what do you take from that when you hear that?
So they're real in the sense that like you really experience them, but they're not always real in the fact that they're valid. Sometimes you misinterpret a situation, for instance, like if your girl gets mad at you because you did something in her dream the night before, right? She might really be feeling something because she's still remembering her dream, but her feeling about it is not valid still.
Okay. You also highlighted on we only talk about the bad, never the good feelings. Do you think that's something that could be changed? Because I find that one of the biggest issues I see in relationships is like we appreciate the good things, but we never verbalize. We just say, "Hey, I really appreciate for taking the trash out. Hey, I really appreciate this dinner," even if it's been 10 years or it's your new dish, or "Hey, this tastes a little different. Did you buy different bread? Is this like sourdough?" I think that sometimes we think this in our head and we don't say it. And in return, we always hear the negative shit. It was like, "Hey, I hate the fact that your underwear is always on the floor. Hey, I hate the fact that your hair is all over the house. I hate that your bobby pins are everywhere." I think that we only hear the negative. And do you think that's something that could be changed, or do you think that's just like always going to be that way? What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's okay that way, because I think that good feelings are something you experience, not something you deliberate about. And
Really?
that, yeah, I mean, there's nothing to analyze there and talk about. I think that logic is a problem solving tool, and there's not problems to solve when things are going well.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a problem solver. Do you think it's like a verbal appreciation? Like you should show
I
someone.
mean, I think more appreciation would be good. I do. But I think it starts internal. I mean, like, so yes, I think that verbalizing things that we appreciate is good, and people could definitely do it more. But there's not a lot to talk about after that, right? Like,
well, not
this
everything.
sourdough bread is. What do you say
Yeah.
after this? After you say this bread is good, that's the end of the conversation, right?
So
Like,
okay, fine. In that specific situation, if my husband says, "Hey, sourdough's really like this is different," I'm like, "Yeah, actually, I tried something new today." He's like, "Really? Why?" Because I think that may sound stupid to somebody if they're deprived of a conversation, maybe annoyed, they don't want to contribute to it. But for my relationship, for example, we give a shit about each other. So if he tells me about his numbers in his days, I don't understand exact, but I'm going to listen to like, okay, like why
Sure.
did Samantha do that? Why? Because we have to give a shit about each other. And I think that expanding on sourdough may sound stupid to someone who's like deprived from sex or emotions or appreciation. Yeah, it sounds stupid when you don't feel like you're already getting it. Why should I give and I'm already not getting? But if we start the rotation of giving so that we can receive, then I think that's the beginning of things. So expanding on like saying, I like this. Oh, really? Wow, I
So
tried it.
my response was not necessarily. It was more conceptual about logic, feelings, and language and the tools. Right. Every lively debate anybody's had here was never about how much we like something or how great something is. Right. So, in a relationship, yes, I think that you're giving better thoughts than I am. But on the whole, I do think that logic is a problem solving tool broadly.
Can I step in?
Yeah, feel free to. Go ahead.
So, from my personal understanding, right? So, the reason why people tend to voice their concerns when something negative happens is because they want immediate correction to put you back on the status quo, on the path of either normalcy or succeeding on whatever you're doing, right? So they want immediate results or immediate solutions to the results. And obviously, if you're not having those issues, there's no immediate need to voice those concerns. But with that said, that's why it's so important to voice things that you enjoy so people can get reinforced the idea that these actions that's making you feel good are things that you want to continue to happen. Right. So I do think it's natural for humans to just go say the negative things because, they want the good things to happen. But they do need to understand if you want the good things that you really like to continue to happen, you're going to have to speak up and say anything because we all realize that people are not mind readers, regardless.
100%.
And I want to address something that you said, Full State, earlier, like you were saying about the invalid feelings. We were saying you brought up the example of like your girlfriend has a dream that you cheated on her and she's all set the next day. Mm-hmm. That's coming from a real place inside of her. So there's something that hasn't been addressed. So there's a real feeling behind that you have to address. Like, does she feel insecure about your relationship? Has something happened? Has something happened in the past that Yeah.
I mean, because I've had dreams about some just weird shit that had nothing to do with anything.
Yeah, the dream stuff can get very touchy.
No, well, I'm saying if she's upset about it the next day, it's touching on a feeling that she actually has. Like I've had dreams, all kinds of dreams, and it didn't get me upset the next day.
I meant like 5 minutes after you wake up.
I'm saying, but you have to wonder if that's coming from an actual place inside her that needs to be addressed. Is there insecurity there that dream is just kind of like feed it into?
Yeah, I'm a woman. I've woke up I woke up to some angry ass dreams. I didn't react, and I actually laughed about it with them. I was like, what the fuck was this? And we'd laugh about it because I don't have that like poking at me. Like maybe this is actually going to happen. So I think maybe it's my own anecdotal experience, but I don't think that if a woman has a dream and she wakes up and she's just randomly angry, that just came because she had a bad dream. Like I think that's deriving from an insecurity that's probably like she's ignoring in the relationship and it's manifesting and getting bigger.
Now, hypothetically, if you woke up mad at your boyfriend and then he wanted to go to work solving it then and talking about it, what the underlying issue is, wouldn't that create bigger issues? Because like you probably don't know what it is, or
Whether that's the lack of discernment in the relationship, because you should kind of know when something's off in the relationship to begin with.
And most
One-
times women don't want the resolution. They want the empathy that comes along with the
true.
conversation. Yeah, it's not necessarily they want you to be like, let's dive deep and figure out why you have insecurity. They don't be like, baby, I understand how this could be. They want the empathy before the resolution, because that means you hear
That's
them.
true.
That goes back to what I said. Women want to feel like they're heard in their, in relationships.
Do you think that it's
This is
just
gonna
exclusive
sound-
to women, or do you think men would also feel the same way, like to be heard? Like if I just
Men are always, or we're always heard. That's our thing. It's like the two things is like that men are always focused on getting heard, and we vocalize the fact that we want to be heard a lot more
Well,
than a lot of women want to feel like they want to be heard.
It
Men don't
depends on the
vocalize.
relationship. To be fair,
I
I'd say
mean-
probably majority traditional relationships, yes, but not
Yeah.
all relationships where men are in are going to be heard, of course.
Yeah. But they want to be heard, and they try to express it somehow. They try to express the desire to be heard.
wait, men or women?
Men express it. That's what what men don't express is the desire to be safe. We express the desire to be heard. We don't express the desire to be safe. And I think it's in women to express the desire to be heard, but not. I mean, women are usually want to be heard because it's everything that the men we focus on is keeping them safe. It's like, wait, you'll provide the physical protection, you'll buy the things, you'll buy the big house with the security gate, you'll put the dog in front, you'll buy a gun, all this stuff to keep us safe, but you're not hearing what we're saying. We're not getting the empathy out of when we're speaking to you. That's what I think a lot of why people's emotions can get ignored.
I think I'm going to tap into that before I let Neve, because I knew you had a point to make. So I'll
Mhm.
hold on to that 1 second before I lose this. So you're saying that women need the empathy, men just have to assert their thoughts, is what you're saying. But do you think that that's something that we continuously highlight as if we're so different that I think both humans, men and women, should also be heard with empathy and logic followed through? Because if if we have a kid, I want my kid to understand both. I don't want my kid just to be completely like a robot and just do everything like just black and white, no emotions, because the job is done. I don't care if I fucked up the whole house, but the job is done. You should be happy,
Yeah.
Dad. Like things like that. You should care about how you do things, not just getting the job done. So when we highlight that women only want empathy, I think that's something that's been socially constructed, because it's like, okay, I have to be the quote unquote nurture one from historically. So I'm going to have to be aware of my emotions, and I'm going to need that fuel for the kids, for them to cook dinner, to deal with you. For a man, historically, you just had to go to work. I'm not saying had, as if that was like such a simple job. We all had like different jobs and different roles. So I think this day and age, if we kind of expand that for men and women to give a shit about each other's emotions, like earlier you said that there's an expectation for men. What was it you said? The expectation for men was fuck, I forgot. I don't remember anymore.
Was
I'm
it
getting
to
spazzy
fix
now.
things, to come with a solution, or to just fix the problem as
Yeah,
opposed to and
that
understand the emotion
contributes.
behind the problem? Yeah.
Yeah, that contributes to, like, again, the mental health crisis, because there's so much pressure that you have to fix the issue, be the man of the household, and just be okay with just taking the L while giving her empathy that you don't have for yourself. Do you think that's a huge pressure on men, that we should both learn how to give that to each other so we're both happy?
100%. I think that's you just nailed you said a lot there. That's exactly what needs to change.
Okay, cool. I'm glad I was able to deliver that before my brain went to shit. Neve, you had something to say, and then we'll go to Flow State,
Yeah.
because Flow State's cooking something in his head right now, but we'll get to that.
Hey, I just wanted to address something Flow State said earlier about like the iffiness about dreams. I just wanted to see if anyone's related to this, and it might be a little morbid. But have you never had a dream where somebody dies in your dream and you wake up sad? Has that never happened to you?
Yeah, that's happening.
Yeah.
right.
So I just wanted to add some like robustness to that idea. because
Are
it
you saying
seemed a little
that it's
trivial at the
not
beginning.
always, or what? I mean, were you? What's? I guess I don't understand the point.
Sorry.
Is that it's that there's not always an underlying concern there?
No, I'm saying like you identified that if a woman woke up and was like upset because of a dream, that there is like a degree of validity to it. Like she's just gonna feel the way she
Yeah.
feels, right? And I didn't think you were like blatantly disregarding it, but I thought you like were, you know, like when you were questioning the idea, I just didn't think you could like conceptualize that maybe.
Right. No, yeah. No. And I've had dreams that where I wake up still in a mood for a minute. I guess I don't think that they're have any validity for me or for really anyone else, right? Like if it's a recurring dream, if it's something that's clearly tied to a real life issue, then there's a real life issue that needs to be addressed. But the dream emotion in and of itself, all else equal, I don't think is valid. It was a dream.
Can I try to bridge the understanding? Let me know if I'm wrong, Flo, of course. But I think a better way to kind of word it is that the feelings themselves are not invalid because, like you agreed with me, they're instinctual, so they are what they are. But the purpose of the feeling can be invalid. Like the reasoning behind why you felt the way you felt could be an invalid purpose. So
I agree.
The reason why that distinction is important is because you can discuss the purpose and immediately debunk it and say, okay, you're acting ridiculous. But if you go like, okay, you're not really sad, it's like, but I am sad.
Okay.
Then
I agree 100% with what you're saying. Yes, I agree with that.
Oh,
Okay.
man.
It wasn't that important, to be completely honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah, just thinking on it right now.
Yeah.
They
But
always say if you
people understand that.
Yeah.
Some people think feelings.
If
are
you can
invalid.
remember the dream, it's because it touched on an emotion. Most you dream every night, but you just don't remember it. If you remember it, that means it touched on some emotion. Whether or not you can easily deal with that emotion and go on with your day, or it's going to be screwing with you the whole day, is up for depends on the person.
Oh, beautiful. Okay. I have another. I think that was really good. Such a civil panel. If you guys don't know, I gave the whole
Grown-ups.
spiel. I gave the spiel in the beginning. This is not debate bro mode on my channel, just because I don't like those types of atmosphere. So if anybody in the chat or anybody here is looking for that, I won't get offended if you exit now, because it's pretty vanilla in this bitch, and it's gonna stay.
Wait,
that
you didn't like that crazy debate we had on Dub's channel?
See, that's a dude's channel. That's that's his territory. It comes with the territory. But I can't
Very
be hosting
true.
stuff like that, And I don't talk about sports. Sports shit gets heated, and the feelings are compartmentalized. I get it. But here, it's disrespectful when his hands are being thrown for no reason. So, I didn't have to be that way here.
Very fair.
Thank you.
We're all in touch with our feelings, I think.
I think that's a great thing. So overall, did we disagree with the video? Did we like the video? Did we hate the video? What did you guys think with the video?
I disagree with the video. I think that the dude in the therapist role is gaslighting the dude who's the husband role. Yeah, entirely.
Can you say how? Like, wait, before we get to that, Damon, you're
Okay.
smiling. Verdal, everyone give me your opinion on the video, because I actually thought the video was just like crazy that you disagree.
Because basically the therapist is saying that everything she feels is valid and you need to treat it as such. Okay, well that's just not true. Maybe she's feeling some sort of way for no reason, or for a dream, or for because she misunderstood a situation. You texted and she misinterpreted the tone. There's all sorts of reasons why somebody could have a feeling that's real, but not be there for a valid reason, like you said.
I like the message behind the video. I just think the way that it was delivered was like a propaganda piece, like paid for by women. Just because the language, I think, was so loaded in buzzwords that are typically distributed amongst like women. I feel like it resonated with me so quickly, and then I felt like men would probably just tune it out.
But I think that's the issue.
Which is ironic, even more ironic. Yeah.
My issue with that is like, okay, if I have to sit here and understand man language, then men should understand women language, because we sit here and ostracize one or the other, then we're never going to coexist with each other. If we sit here and say that's just women, well, it's supposed to appeal to women.
Understand it doesn't mean agree with it, though.
Wait, why? If I understand, like, I'm in a relationship with you, I have to understand you, and I have to agree, because we have to get along with each other.
You don't have to agree.
But I can still be wrong. You don't have to agree with everything I do or say.
Okay, no, okay, maybe we're missing each other. Maybe I'm disagreeing at this point. Okay, if you listen to what I'm saying in the video, say the guy in one point where he's saying her feelings are valid. You may not agree why her feelings are valid, but that derives from something. So something immediately that's happened in the relationship that's adding up. Eventually, if I'm reacting on it, to you think it's like, what, we were fine yesterday. No, I ignored the issue because I have to get through the day, feed the kids, make your meal, go at my duties. But the shit's still going to come up. So to you, you may think it's not relevant, but it's still an underlying issue. So you can dismiss it. Wait, is somebody like having a dog, or somebody watching or something? I hear something. Does anybody else hear? Or is
If-
it just me?
I heard like breathing.
I hear it. It's not me.
Yeah, I heard a few things.
Is it me?
I just heard it again. A little bark.
Yeah. I don't have a dog.
I'm gonna do this thing where I'm gonna mute mute one person at a time. We're gonna figure out if it slowly goes away. We're gonna mute one person at a time. Nope, it's not Flo. It might be the way Damien breathes. Maybe.
I'm like
sound-
tripping that it's me now. I'm like, whoa, what if it's me?
Wait. The sound hasn't come up.
Oh, you're talking about the breathing. I heard that too. You might have high gain on your mic, bro. I don't know. That might be it.
I'll adjust to my mic.
It was definitely Damien. Okay. All right. Well, now I forgot what I was talking
Yeah, my
about.
mic volume was way up. Sorry about that.
We were talking
Worries.
about how not all emotions are valid.
Yeah, the video.
And no, I think
okay.
what we were saying about you have to. We were saying that you understand. That means you agree. Which I don't think. Yeah, that's
Okay.
not true at all.
I remember where we were in the example that you just gave. Things build up, right? So if the chick, if you blow up over the toilet seat being left up, but it's an accumulation of the past week.
Okay.
That's not a valid response to the toilet seat being up.
Wait, so if the toilet seat's been up and I've mentioned it softly, given hints like, hey babe, toilet seat, gotta go, gotta put it down.
Well,
And-
that wasn't really what I meant or what I was describing in the example. That's a different thing where it's like building up of the same issue and it has been addressed. But if it's like yesterday I tracked mud on the carpet, today I left the toilet seat up and the toilet seat is the breaking point, you should have addressed the things and not let them build to that point.
No, I agree that you should address them. I agree with that 1000%. I don't think
Okay.
we should conflate all of it into one thing, but I think
Okay.
sometimes we don't take the time out to learn that, okay, if I bitch at you about every little thing and I don't give you a chance to make the mistake, then I'm always going to premeditate on when you're going to make this mistake and then become a cynic and then ruin the relationship. Like, I'm not trusting you. That's also another issue, right? No?
Right. Yeah. No, I think we're on the same page.
Okay, then we don't disagree then. Okay, cool.
All right.
I learned something from the skit, I guess.
No, I think the whole point is just to kind of like, everyone's going to listen. They may agree with you. They may
Right.
agree with me. They may agree with Riddell. They may agree with Damien. It's just a discourse. Riddell, do you have something to say?
Yeah, I thought the video, the premise, I understand. I will say that like not every conversation you're gonna have with your other person is going to be a therapy session, of course. Like, you're not going, every feeling that he or she has is not going through a whole line of questioning to try to understand it. It definitely needs to be a compromise from the both to, one, the guy make an attempt to understand the feelings, especially if they are, repeated more than once. And obviously for the woman, she also has to make a attempt to, hey man, not every single feeling I have needs to be met with a whole deep dive into my state of mind, right? So men definitely need to take that effort. So that's a big part of what the video sent is sounding like. But another point that we got to make sure we're understanding is it's a two-way street from both sides.
Good point. Good point. I also, what do you guys feel about gray pill? That's what men usually do. If his woman generally complains, he agrees with her. Is this what happens? Is this something we can change? Is this something that y'all think it's normal?
I don't know about that. I don't agree with that point.
That's not how my relationships work.
Yeah. No, it's like, you got to come harder than that. In my relationship, you can't just be like complaining about it. And complaining will probably get you less than if you sat down and had a reasonable conversation with me.
100%.
So where do you guys think the complaining comes from? Do you guys think this is something that happens
Gray
on
pill.
relationship? Is there something that we could highlight about why people choose to complain instead of having civil conversations?
So
think
complaints
people-
are basically it's passive aggressive, right? And it's like setting expectations for people and like not necessarily having the energy to like communicate understanding from start to finish every single time. So I think complaining is generally like a substitute for that for some people. And I think a lot of times they do it without even really knowing.
Yeah, a little bit too much.
Okay. Anybody else wants to add to that?
I'm good.
Yeah, it's definitely a level of dissatisfaction and not being heard to a certain extent. So you kind of voice every single issue that you have to the point where it sounds like complaining. So it's like someone said, it's definitely like a communication issue more often than not.
And
How
I
do
just
you
want to
guys-
say something. I'm absolutely in the red pill, and you guys know that. But it's just one of those things. But I think it's been a situation where men. It's just not a thing that men have been allowed to do historically. I mean, the ones who do it, they face all kinds of scrutiny, and if they're complaining too much, men are, like you said, men are supposed to be stoic and kind of work their way through it. We're not supposed to sit there and complain. So that's not historically what we've been groomed or been raised to do. I think a lot of times, like with my daughter, if my daughter complains about something, there's a good chance, it depends on, within reason, I may give in to it. I'll be like, all right, you don't want to do the dishes tonight because you had a lot of homework. Okay, fine, you can do it in the morning. It's just like, and I think it's, and I get that because for some reason I want to appease her and I don't, or maybe I just don't want to hear it. Like my boys, you can complain all day. It ain't happening. That's the thing.
So-
It's just like,
what you're displaying is like a social conditioning. So what you do
yeah,
is
that's what.
so you love your
Yeah.
daughter unconditionally. So you allow her to just, not have to do the dishes. And you make your son do it. So then we talk about how men historically have been oppressed and said they can't talk about their issues. But who's creating that issue?
I'm fine. I don't think it's an issue.
That's the issue. It's the issue.
Yeah, society stigmatized men who really express their feelings because that's why.
fine.
And the only one we can realistically, unfortunately, express without being ostracized
Judged,
is
not
usually
judged.
anger. Like the ones that produce the physical, the ones that equate to physical activity, that we can express those. But you can a man can't cry because his wife said something that hurt him inside, but he can cry if he wins the NBA finals. Because there's a physical action, there's some kind of physicality attached to that, which is usually okay.
Damien, you're usually a crowd favorite, but I don't know what's going on tonight. Like this
What's
polo
wrong?
hat has you acting different. I don't know.
What
who
you talking
is-
about?
He's not pandering. He's speaking his truth.
This
What are you
is not-
saying?
Who is
Don't make
this?
him cry.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna have to go out and play basketball and pretend it's that.
I'm confused. I don't know who this person is. I think he pulled a Uno card
Mm.
on us. Like I don't know this version of you. I'm still trying to
What are you
rationalize.
talking
what you
about?
said.
I
Okay.
will
This
say
topic
this.
the same from last topic.
So
Okay. So
Explain.
you it sounds like you just like it was an extreme example. Like if I cried to my wife about something, she wouldn't allow it. What do you mean your wife wouldn't allow it?
No,
Like,
no,
if-
no, 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 no. Second, I'm not saying my wife when I said if I cried to my wife about something and we had a good cry, and then I went to my best friend that's a guy and said, "Oh my God, my wife said something that really hurt me," and I start crying, there'd be a different response than if my wife goes to her girlfriend and be like, "Oh my God, my husband and I got to something." Other men ostracize you and make you feel bad
So it's men
about
on men.
expressing money. Yeah. I'm not talking about men on women.
No, because I'm trying. So my goal is to get down to the root of this because we keep saying that men historically have to suppress their emotions. Flow state disagrees, and that's fair. We can
I
get to
think it's
that.
a good thing. No, I don't disagree that it exists. I disagree that it is a problem. I'm cool with it. I will oppress the shit out of all of you.
Seriously, if I came close to
already.
Flow
You
state,
can't
if I
take us
came to
Don't
all.
come
you,
crying to
You can't
me.
Take us all.
Exactly,
Like that.
exactly. Men
Like
don't have those spaces historically where they can go
But-
and express any emotion other than
Right.
anger.
Well,
Okay,
because
but
When it comes to other men, when it comes to
But that's-
when it
but
comes to
that's a
their friend
choice.
groups.
that's a choice
Well,
that men choose to do. Is that
It's-
Well, that's the men. No, that's very. It's like no,
But it's
we're
reflective of
conditioned as
reality.
children. Yeah,
it's
conditioned
reflective
like
of reality because men, all throughout human history have had to suck up their feelers and deal with real shit when it goes down,
yeah.
not get
Yeah.
stuck in
but,
having
but,
their.
but
Little
I've always
boys
said,
fall. It's like be a man.
Yes,
from
yes,
a
yes,
little young age.
but this is something like the goal to my question to this isn't to like fight or poke at you guys.
Yeah.
The goal is to get to the root of it and see if we can stop this, prevent this, or maybe see something we don't see. So when you say historically men have had to do this, one, I assume so far that this is a pressure that men are putting on themselves with each other. That's an issue.
I mean, I
Another
think-
thing. Wait, 1 second before my low IQ forgets. Another issue is when we conflate like the environment that we were living in. So if we're living in a survival environment where you had to shut the fuck up and make sure you don't get blown up to pieces because you're getting drafted or something, and you don't have the luxury to complain about your luxuries, yeah, that's the mindset you adapt. But in this generation where we have the luxury to just type that we hate some bitch in the comment section, if we have the luxury to do that, why can't we say, hey, wife, when's the last time you gave me head? What's going on here? Did I do something? Should I buy flowers? Like, can we talk about this? Like little things like that, we could talk. Like, who you're sleeping with this person. This person's pushed out a baby for you. What
If-
held up? What held
If
up
somebody
the
said they
marriage?
weren't getting head and they were crying about it, then I would feel for them.
It's so selective. That's the thing. So you can talk about it. You just choose not to, and then you ostracize each other from it.
I
And
would
I
really.
agree.
On the
I was just
situation.
kidding.
Wait, 1 second at a time, 1% at a time. Riddell, and then Grey Pill, and then whoever next.
All right, so I agree with the fact that like in past generations, there's a certain standard for men to kind of hold in their emotions to an extent. But at the same time, I wouldn't say that they were, necessarily keeping the complaining under wraps. It was the powers to be they aren't able to complain to. So there are times where that complaining comes back to the household. So that is what I feel like can and tends to happen in some cases, of course. Whereas obviously when it comes to a woman, the powers to be would be her husband. So she's complaining right to him. So I think those are the biggest difference in my opinion. But in terms of current society doesn't really have those issues for the most part in American Western culture, at the very least, to the point where you can't talk to certain people about or complain to certain people. And also crying and complaining are two different things. But everybody complains about something, right? Me and my friend, my best friend, we complain about certain, like, we're talking about the jobs. We're talking how much times we complain about the housing market or gas prices going up, or
Sure.
hey man, the freaking Cowboys lost to the Cardinals. We're complaining about that. My fantasy team lost. I'm complaining about that. We complain all the time, to be honest, especially
But
nowadays.
There's no real emotional component to that. There's like, oh, that
No,
sucks.
there
But then you would
is.
that
Because
your
here's-
Cowboys lost.
when-
I don't know.
no,
I'm
no,
not
no,
a big
no, no.
sports fan.
Look, so what he's saying is like, if you complain, that after a while, for example, that's an emotion because somebody around you could be like, all right, this guy's always like nagging. He's always saying some shit. That's still an emotion being displayed, regardless of what you
Excuse
may
me.
feel.
Frustration. It's
Yeah,
the
frustration.
same one. It's the same one for all of those examples, though.
Um,
Right,
somebody
but
has
you're
something
still
to say?
able to complain.
Right.
about
You can
that.
complain,
Right.
but each one of those things is the same frustrated emotion. It's like mild frustration or irritation. It's not like sadness or confusion or like any of the sticky or negative emotions.
And you can complain at about things they relate to. Like your boys can complain about your team losing because they have a team, and a lot of times you're in the same
Right.
position where you both are like upset that your team loses. So you can complain about stuff that you guys are aligned with. But
But,
if
okay,
he's
you're
getting
thinking-
So why can't we take that exact blueprint and apply it to the person you're sleeping with and is pushing out babies for you? Why can't we find what aligns with each other so that we can grow and like, hey, I don't like the way you made this bland ass chicken respectfully. How can I reword this?
you,
So
you
that-
Who's
can,
crying
but
about plain chicken? Who crying over that?
you can, but it takes.
You're gonna eat some shitty ass food in a relationship and just tolerate that? I don't understand this
No.
great
I'm
part.
saying, who's crying over
It-
that? Wasn't that the whole crying or just the
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
complaining?
Emotions have a lot
Complaining.
of things. There's
Yeah,
more
correct.
complain, frustration, anger. I've had a shit day. I come home, I just want a nice fucking meal. Women get
Yeah.
smacked around for stuff like that back in the day. The fact that he had to go work in the freaking oil rig and come home to some fucking like 3 peas and just maybe a bland band. I'm like, what the fuck? Smacked around.
Maybe she want to put him on a diet. Who knows?
Yeah, you can
Yes.
complain about that stuff, but
well,
the thing is,
I also real quick.
let me just get this point out real quick. Let me get this point out real
I
quick.
just want you to understand my point because you're sticking to the sports thing a little too much. It's more than the sports thing.
It's
It wasn't gonna be the
analogy,
sports thing.
sir.
Hold on,
It's
hold
called
on.
analogy,
I'm
sir.
not off the sports thing. Let me get this point out. You'll see it had nothing to do with sports. All right. So what I'm
Alright.
saying is like, you can complain about other things that's more related to like a healthy marriage, a healthy relationship. But it takes some time, and you have to develop that. The man has to really feel like it's a safe space for him to do that. Will there be no judgment at the time and no potential future judgment? Because a lot of guys worry about, okay, I tell you something at the time, you might be empathetic and you might rub my back and tell me it's going to be okay. But what happens when we break off? You can tell my friend like, that weak motherfucker was out there crying about the blah, 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 whatever. You go to your girls and you complaining to them that you don't respect that he was crying about something because there's that stigma that comes absolutely from men, but it can in most cases come from men, but can also come from the women that you're engaging with, because they have grown up in the same world that is the men.
Yeah, so I understand what you're saying, but my biggest issue with that is like, look, anyone that complains or cries is tagged as annoying or stupid or emotional. It's not exclusive to men. It's also to women. The difference is like women, we've accepted that men don't respect us. It is what it is. We have to follow suit with whatever men have to do. That's fine. With men, if you want to lead, you're going to have to accept. And I'm not saying that anybody has to, but historically, because you lead, you have to accept that. But I would have to say my biggest issue with that statement, I'm having a brain fucking fart today. I need drugs or something. Well, fuck. I was getting to a point with that. When you said, I don't know anymore. Fuck. I don't know. Someone else take over. Anybody?
All right, can we get like? I'm sorry, maybe because I came in a little bit, and I apologize. I had some issues. So, what was the point of the emotions? Is that what we're focusing on? The emotions of men?
Well, emotions are humans. Humans have emotions, but I want to see their opinions on what they feel when they hear emotions. We had some pretty good takes. Flo
kind of
didn't
bounced
like
all
it too
over a lot
much.
of them. I mean, I would ask, do you agree that it sort of sounded like you would agree that when you dump your feels on somebody else, you're burdening them with your problem? Do you agree with that?
So okay. Oh, okay. No. Okay. If you have a personality of being a stoic person and you finally express yourself to somebody, if you're surrounded by somebody that's going to judge for that, that says a lot about the people you're surrounding yourself with. That's one. And then two, if you're explaining how you feel, expressing it, whether it's frustration, sadness, or anger, and you don't have a solution to it, and you're explaining it to somebody who doesn't know what to do, they're going to look at you like, okay, I feel bad, but like I don't like when a woman cries in front of a man, he doesn't know what to do. He starts like looking like, do I rub your back? Do I say it's okay? Do I give you food? It's not that you hate that she's crying, you don't know what to do. So I think that when we express to people our issues, like maybe in my relationship, I'm more so like, if I'm going to tell you I have an issue, it's already been solved. So, but I need you to know why I was acting funky last week, so you don't think I'm cheating on you or something, or you don't think I was acting funky or something. I think that we can express ourselves because it'll kind of piece out the puzzles and the gaps in our daily lives. But when people think that if I just ignore it, it's like an elephant hiding behind a pole. It's quite evident that you had a rough week last week. We could say, hey, I couldn't figure it out. I figured it out. And this is what's going. Talking about it doesn't make it bad. Not having a solution and complaining repetitively, bitching is what makes it unattractive, whether you're a man or a woman. Is what I would say.
You sound very masculine, Angela.
About to say that you have a very masculine mindset.
Wait, what makes that masculine? I don't understand what's exclusive.
You've already resolved the problem.
Yeah.
Wait, we're humans. We have left brain, right brain, emotions, and we have logic. Men and women both have it. So what makes that masculine? I don't understand this.
Because you addressed the problem after you had solved it and were just clearing up the out of character behavior instead of complaining about the problem just to be heard complaining about the problem.
Yeah, wow. It's like a chick that comes over.
I think this statement says more about men specifically.
Let me answer Flo. It's just like a chick that come over your house and say, hey, you know what? I have my issue. Don't tell you about the issue. Don't bring up the issue. But all they wanted was just a hug. And then you don't give them the hug, and then they get mad at you. Then they go away like, what was going on?
Okay.
All I wanted was a hug.
Let me use your example, and I'll also tie in Damien's example. So Damien has a daughter, and he loves his daughter. So when you love somebody, you kind of enable them, you cripple them without realizing it. So this is a social conditioning. When we say that women, or basically what y'all are saying, I'm not saying it's derogative, but maybe it is that women don't have logics and they're just complaining just to complain. Maybe the type of women that we engage with. Now, let's say like the girl, like I was taught to have, like I grew up around boys. I had to understand to fix shit. I understand like 1, 2, 3, you take something apart, you put it back together. But then I'm a woman, so I have to learn how to be in tune with my femininity also. It's not exclusive to one gender. I think that we can be dominant in it based on how you're raised, but you're still accountable to what you adapt that benefits your lifestyle.
Can I ask a question? So based on what you said that Flo said respond to, as a woman, just for you, so if you already solved the problem, why even make the complaint after the fact? Like, that's the part I don't get. If my chick already fixed it, I can see if she's come on like, how's your day? And she's telling me how her day. Okay, cool. I'm just seeing how you're doing because we're trying. Your world is your world, my world is and we're meshing together. I get that conversation. But if you already had a problem that's fixed, Because your words, you said I complained about it after the fact, but it's already solved. So why make the complaint?
So it's the bond.
What if it's a
For
recurring
example,
issue?
So it's
Yeah,
the
women-
bonding between no, I'm sorry. Like, let me just make this point.
Go
So, for
Yeah.
example, if you're saying it's complaint, that's not a complaint. If the issue is solved as it's complaining, it's an update. It's a relationship. We share things that happen together. So, for example, if a pipe busted last week, he drove to 5 different Home Depots. He didn't want to tell me, hey, we may not have water for the next couple of days because the pipe is turned off. He doesn't want to tell me that shit because I have my own shit. So he's like, I have to be at this point, be independent and figure this shit out. And I noticed it. So I'm like, all right, I noticed he's tweaking a little bit. Let me just kind of make the house a little more comfortable with XYZ because you have discernment. So then a week later goes by, he finds the pipe, fixes it. We sit down to dinner. He can breathe. I can see the exhale. This is why you bond with people. You don't just hook up with them. Hooking up with people. Y'all know that.
No, go ahead. No, I just want to be next.
I had my hand raised. I didn't even say a word.
Go ahead. Nobody said anything.
Well, if you put your hand up, just say that I have a question next because I think y'all trying to like cut me off, and you know I feel
No, I
bad.
literally just had my hand raised.
Hey, whoa. We can just.
Is your emotions getting to you? No,
Are they all valid? All these emotions are valid.
Ruthless.
Every time we put Damien and Grey Pill in a room together, this is what happens.
you gotta
This
I
is
had
what
my hand raised. What are you talking about?
Grey Pill starts poking at me in so many ways with his bad beliefs. Like, I see what's going on. This is
Technically, it's
bad
been
faith.
flow state. I'm just gonna keep it 100. It's been flow state.
I just want to say a quick point, and then I'll be probably quiet to the next subject. It's just that a lot of times when somebody asks, well, why tell us about the situation? A lot of times women want you to connect with the emotion of the event. So you can have a better understanding because that goes into an empathy thing. Like, for example, if you know how a kid tells a story, if a kid falls off and scrapes his knee, the way a man would tell that story would be, dang, I took little Johnny to play, he fell down and scraped his freaking knee. Can you believe that? The way no. I'm telling you, the way women would be like, oh my God, I took him to the appointment. I wanted you to have a good time with him. I turned around for 2 seconds, and then all of a sudden I hear crying, and I was like, what is happening? So I run over there, and I'm all upset, and then I realized he had scraped his knee. And I was like, well, men tell the beginning. They tell it from like what the main thing and then work their way backwards. A lot of women want you to connect with the emotion that they felt. So that's why.
Okay. I get what you're saying, but that is how a household is ran. How one chooses to be is it's up to your environment. Like, I'm going to counteract and we'll go straight to Riddell. So, for example, because I'm going to go back to my dinner statement before I get to finish, because I acknowledged that I recognized he was tweaking that week and he was stressed, I didn't press him. I didn't say, hey, talk to me. What's going on? Some people care so much that they're fucking annoying. I don't want to push his buttons. I was like, yo, like literally just make the house nice and cold, get some hot food, make sure he's cool, put some sports on. He should be fine. Don't piss him off because when you're annoyed, you don't want to piss people off. That's respecting boundaries. And because I verbalized that I recognize all this, like I'm saying to you guys, he said, yo, my standards are low, but it just got raised just a little bit because I know that you can acknowledge these things. Because right there, that's a reprogram right there. Because what you're saying is example historically of how women, and maybe most girls, because if you spoil your daughters not, I'm not using yours, but most people, when you love your daughters, I have nieces, but your daughters become an adult. What they know from their fathers, they bring that into their adult life. So when you love your daughters and you love them crippling, but the man that they spend their life, he's not going to love her unconditionally the way we want to love our daughters. So don't you think that you're creating an environment where they only know if a man doesn't fix it, I don't know what to do. I'm only going to be here until something's fixed. That's a social conditioning.
Hopefully it's not that extreme.
All right, I'm gonna say this. Now, it could be a situation. It could be where the woman's looking for an emotional connection based off telling the person this thing. Now, in my opinion, I think it's more so what Angela said, whereas you're just sharing the experience to build the bond. Because I feel like it's pretty common to tell someone something after it's already done. For example, my friend, after he got his AC installed to his new AC that cost like $3,000, it was already done. He told me, we talked about it, and moved on. You know what I'm saying? I told my friend when I crashed into something, I got rid of the car. Everything's done. Just told my guy the experience. We shared the experience. We talked about it a little bit, and then moved on. So I think it's pretty common to share experiences. I know that's another level when it comes to relationships because, like I said, it could be a situation where the person wants you to resonate with the emotion that they felt when the situation has happened. But let's just not act like it's just a woman thing that only women do this. Everybody does it.
Have you guys heard of the
I don't
Have
know.
you guys heard of the bonding agent, oxytocin and vasopressin? I've talked about this before. We're all aware of this. Are we aware only of oxytocin, or we're aware of vasopressin also? Everybody
We
here?
don't know what vasopressin is.
Okay, so whenever I talk about like how women and men just bonded, we only know about how a woman bonds with a man, which is her oxytocin shit when she's pleasured and happy, and it just her brain just releases the toxins. But when are we going to talk about how men are happy? Because they have a chemical also that releases into their brain when small goals are achieved between you and another person. That's how you bond. That's why men in groups are bonded so tight, because you share a goal together, you achieve it, and you're like, wow, I just released some chemical brain action that I really like this brother because he understands me. I'm saying that is how a man and woman bond. So when we hear, why should I have to express what happened last week or yesterday? It's irrelevant. But how are you planning on bonding with her? It's not just sex. A man can have sex with a woman 1,000 times. If he doesn't bond with her beyond just like he's never going to fall in love with her. The bonding is beyond that. So how do you guys bond with women beyond the sex then, if we're not going to talk about vasopressin?
Good point.
Is that a question?
Well, I
It's a
think you
genuine
talk to y'all
question.
stoics guys, y'all
Oh,
extra
oh.
stoics guys there.
I mean, they create value over and above sex. They've cultivated themselves to add more to what we got going on than just body. They separate themselves from other women, and then they make what the things to do. They make themselves significant to us personally. It's not general stuff they do, like, oh, you may cook for anybody, but there's certain things that somebody can do that shows you that they have a realistic investment in who you are. That's what helps you as a man bond to somebody. That's what helped. I'm just going to say that's what helped me bond to my wife, is that she showed a significant amount of investment over and above anybody else I might have been seeing or what have you. She
But
really put it out there. Like,
the investment is like, for example, let's take your homeboys. Your homeboys, when you guys hang out together, you're part of the red pill stuff. You guys have to bond on a
Me?
similar topic. Did you not say that earlier? Or did
I said, I am absolutely not red pill.
I
Why you
thought-
call
I
him
heard
red
that.
pill?
Yeah.
Doing that.
Yeah,
said-
I heard the otherwise. Not gonna lie, I heard the otherwise as well.
I was like, dang, what
Yeah.
happened?
I was on
Yeah,
defense mode
absolutely.
after I heard that.
No,
I was
no,
like,
that's why
yeah,
you said the
okay,
redhead. I
yeah.
was like, what did I say? I said this may sound similar to stuff they said, but I said it's absolutely not red pill because, no.
right. So that's why I'm asking the bonding agent for men and women, because when small goals are shit, I know this sounds like bullshit. If anyone looks it up, it's just vasopressin. So when men share a goal to get with anyone, like when you see your son and your son throws the football and you taught him that shit, you're bonding right there. So when you're with the woman and she goes, baby, thank you so much for taking the trash out. I hate the raccoons. I appreciate you so much. You're like, you know what? I'm going to pull my pants up every time I take this shit out because she appreciates it. That's a bonding agent. Now, to somebody may say like, wait, why should I have to verbalize it? That's so stupid. It's stupid to you, but it's important for them to bond with you because you know that they appreciate you. So you say it's an investment. That's part of vasopressin because she supports you in what you do. You know that she aligns with you. She verbalizes it. You know that it's an alignment beyond just physical observing, because observing someone is one thing, but hearing them reassure you is a different story. That's just like tie the bow, we're done, seal for life. Just my opinion.
I don't know that I think the verbalization does a whole lot more if the actions have to be aligned with it. If I get the verbalization, and I have to go looking for the actions to match it, I think that's a bigger problem than if I see the action.
It's not one or the other. I say both. Like, have
Okay.
you ever heard of like immigrant kids who were raised by parents who showed them that they love them by putting a roof over their head and food on their plate, but never said they loved them? So they go through life wondering if they were loved. So we're saying like, okay, the verbalization doesn't really matter. So why should parents have to show their kids beyond just taking care of them? They love them.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, now we just jumped over to a different relationship dynamic entirely.
What's so different about it?
Man, woman, and parent and child.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
please explain, because I think relationships are like
because
at least to a degree.
with a man and woman, you have an adult. You're both adults coming into it, and
But do you think there's less of a like bond there because you don't owe each other shit, that you should
Well,
kind of focus on the
and
verbalization?
because the
Children,
adult-
you know they're going to leave you at some point. You don't feel like you have to have that connection with them consistently because they're going to be in your space day to day. Kids leave and start their own lives, and you can stay bonded, but you're not as interdependent as you are with your spouse. That
no,
is,
no, no. I
that's
think
kind
I
of the
think you have it
difference.
backwards. So like your kids will always be your kids even if they leave. So you don't question like the level of bond because you know that the fucker's not going anywhere. You're mine.
Exactly, that's what I mean.
Because a kid's whole world is hinges on the parents caring about them, right? Everything about their safety, their well-being, like everything comes out of their parents caring about them. I think it's just way more important.
How do you show that care?
Me, I've got one daughter. I'm a dad of one daughter, and so she like I show it all the ways basically.
So you verbalize, you show, and all that good
I
stuff.
verbalize.
So let's
chase
say
around and kiss her on the head.
So does a wife not deserve that same like element? The woman that pushes the daughter out, not your exact example.
Right.
Like
She
let's
does.
say like in a happy home, but like because wouldn't she shower the child with the same love that you give to your daughter? Why is it only exclusive to daughters and not to
It's
men
not
and women?
exclusive. It's
It's
just
not.
not to the same degree. I don't think, or it's not as essential
Why?
as frequently.
Because your daughter is going to be a grown woman one day. So would you?
Right.
So why
But
does that stop? Like from like why does only the dad give the daughter, but why can another man
Well, I
give
think it's
your daughter what you're
about the
giving?
psychology. It's about developmental psychology, really, to me. Because if you think about a kid, like when you're real young, kids don't even separate from their moms in their own heads, right? They're the same entity, and then, the degrees of cognitive separation expand over time. When you're with your partner, you're both fully autonomous adults.
Right.
I just think it's just a completely different mental state.
Yeah, but some parents have to prep their kids for that though, because some kids, even the parents with the kids or the parents with the parents, the kids with the parents with kids, they don't have to learn how that separation. Like if they're moving out, the mom want to still cling on to the boy or the daughter or the
and that's unhealthy too.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so I'm just wanting to clarify what you were saying. So it's not as important to verbalize your relationship or like how you feel with your partner than you compare to your daughter.
So I think let me explain it this way.
Okay.
With my daughter, as she's gotten older and more independent, I have been less affectionately expressive. I think that the age and the independence of the person, that's the object of it, matters.
Wait, explain that.
My 5-year-old daughter wanted me to hold her all the time. My 13-year-old daughter wants me to drop her off down the street from her friend's house. So there's a healthy amount of separation and independence that comes with growing up. And I think that the amount of connectedness and nurture that your 5-year-old daughter needs is way different and should be different than what your adult wife needs.
So I get what you're saying because obviously a kid is going to need more love in general, all the care, they're needy, obviously. So I get what you mean in reference to that in terms of amount, but in
Explain
terms of
it better
value,
for me again, then.
Yeah.
in terms of amount, I understand because they're needy, they're always craving for attention. Obviously, they're a child, like we understand that concept. But I mean, baby, even more so. They need 24/7 attention to the point where you're not even going to go to sleep. So I get what you're saying regarding that. But in terms of the value of what is being done, those are the same because regardless, you still want to verbalize to the people you love. So you're going to verbalize to your daughter when she's a baby, when she's an adolescent, when she's a teenager, and when she's a grown adult. And it's the same thing with your wife. So the amount is irrelevant because even with your daughter, the amount is going to change, but the value is still there. It should always exist. How did I contradict myself?
Go ahead.
No, he said it perfectly. I understand. Keep going, Bradell. I understand. I'm right. I think you're perfectly laying it out.
Yeah, but it's levels to this though. Yeah, but if he's saying to a baby to this, it's not equal. It's the same. It's going to change over time. That's what flow state is saying. Like, hey, if he gave example of the two daughters. If one daughter is more huggy, kissy, he said, okay, well, he's going to like, all right, give less to that, but express. He said, I'm express and explain because, hey,
so
I'm sorry.
by your example, what you guys think should change. So let's say you have to go on a work trip for 6 months. Because I don't see you for 6 months, should my love change because things have changed? Or should we still hold the same love that we have for them? Just because they're going through changes, don't you still have to maintain your part as a dad or wife or whatever the fuck
Yeah,
you're loving
Yes.
spouse?
My level remains constant. Their expectation of the need for me to they're needing it can change. Like my daughter just came in here and gave me a hug. She still needs me to hug her before she goes to bed, but she could be a 17-year-old and won't have nothing to do with me. You know, it's just like, so that's different. It's like, I know it's going to get to a point where that's not going to happen anymore. And I don't get me wrong, I will do it till she's 50 years old, but it's going to be a point where that's not my level of what will stay constant, but her will change. Her need for it, and me giving it to her won't change. It's always there for her if she needs it, but she won't need it as much.
Right.
I think that's what he's saying.
But that's what I agree. But I'm in flow states, and I'm just going to kind of cap on that. So I have an issue with saying like I should stop because she's changing. She's changing and it has nothing to do with you. Because if you stop, then you ruin the dynamic of everything you've done. Because let's say like me at my young, and I'll just use my own anecdote. Like growing up, you go through changes. You don't want to hug your dad as much because you feel weird. Your body changes. You look at him a little different. You're like, oh, dad, like I just feel ugly. I feel weird. But then you start dating. You realize, oh my God, my dad loves me different. And this guy has conditions. I miss my dad's hug. But guess what? Dad turned off the hugging switch because dad said she doesn't need it no more. A year ago, you stopped hugging me. Now I feel rejected. And now I'm going off of the reality of what usually happens.
Okay. And I'll agree with the reality. I agree with your objection to the reality of what normally happens. And that's not what I was advocating.
I think you were saying at her request. She's requesting for you to not hug her. So you're respecting that.
Yeah, exactly. It's my reaction to what I'm reading off her.
Yeah, but that's why we verbalize these things. For example, when my husband's like annoyed or some shit, I'll say, listen, I know you're annoyed. I'm still going to be here if you want to talk. If not, I'll leave you alone. Hang out in the den. I'll be here. I still have to verbalize this thing. Just because he's annoyed doesn't mean I just say, well, he's fucking annoyed. I'll leave him alone. You just gaslight the shit out of him. And he's already annoyed about some other things. Like they deserve gratitude is what I'm saying.
I assume that that by the time my daughter's 13 now, I assume at this point we've got a solid base of how dad is and how dad feels, and that doesn't change. That's there. And maybe that's a wrong assumption on my part. But I do believe that is the case.
Yeah, I mean, I can respect like that's how you feel, and that's what probably is going on. But I think that's like coming from a girl who respects my uncle who's raised me. There's so many times where he didn't express himself, and now he's able to express himself because of how I am. I've created a space where he's like, yo, she's not going to judge me. She's not going to harp on me. She's going to allow me to make mistakes and not judge me. I do the same method for my husband and like the men in my life. And I've noticed that, okay, as long as you allow them to speak and go through changes, they're not going to harp on you and give you shit for it. But if you judge them, like, you know, you stop giving me hugs and shit, then you're like, oh, fuck you, bitch. Like, now I have to do it because now you made me feel like shit.
You restated that point I made earlier about usually the reason the men won't do it is because of worry. It is they don't feel like it's a safe space. You just said I created a safe space for the people to do that, to express themselves, and now they do it.
Yes,
and that's the thing. It's what we have to normalize creating those safe spaces.
Yes, but okay, how many women do we know that are involved online and tell me things? Some women are just like, to me, it's like whoever figures out the chicken and the egg, you figure it out first, you do it. Yeah. But if we say that it's exclusive to only men or only women, then we're limiting the opportunities that we have with each other. I think like the minute you know, like, hey, it's still my job to love you. I don't care what type of day you're having. Like hearing that from your boss, your partner, your kid, it just kind of changes your mood to be like, you know what? Let me compartmentalize my anger right now. I'm projecting this, my mistake. And that bond just gets closer because you realize like, oh shit, if there's one person that doesn't judge me, it's you. But when we start saying that women will judge you, then we have to change that. If the woman judges you because you're probably sleeping with a whore that doesn't care about you, she just wants your wallet. But if we're talking about someone that is your child, your wife, your long girlfriend, they should care about you. And if they don't, then maybe we should start teaching them how you feel. Because when you realize how someone feels and you care about them, then you start treading a little carefully.
Does the panel think, I have a question then off that. Does everybody think that men today, I know this is a broad question, men today are too masculine or not masculine enough?
I think it's a balance of both because technically that question a little bit anecdotal because we can go by our own experiences. I might
Right.
say the people I roam around with, I could say, hey, more so. But at the same time, I could see some other guys like and I give an example. I'm thinking of this guy. He's married for so many years, have wife, kids, but work, everything else. But after work, he go to the liquor store, grab a bottle, hang out there just to get himself together and go right back home. So that I might think that's the opposite of what of what it is. So you'll see like a balance of both, but it's only what you see. So that's just for me.
So
Yeah, it kind of
Go
seems
ahead.
silly to go for both. It seems like I don't think that society is probably any different than it was like 5, 10, 15 years ago, because people who have these, ideologies or these virtues of, freedom of speech and, doing what I feel right, on all likelihood, they're instilling those in their kids. Those kids are instilling them in the people after them. I think I just don't think that there's enough evidence to suggest that, just because a particular, perception is there, that, society is any different than it was, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago. I mean, obviously, if we disregard like men, not like, all the industrial jobs that are no longer exist, like maybe you could consider that, but I don't know. It feels weird to me.
I mean, it depends on how you look at it.
Society's
for
a
me-
whole. But go ahead. I'm sorry, Dale. Go ahead.
Oh, no worries, man. No worries. So for me personally, this is a very good question, honestly. Based on my biggest component of masculism for me is confidence. And I think personally that a lot of men nowadays, especially due to social media, the internet, the boom of feminism, a lot of these men don't have confidence to the point where they can engage with women. So if that is my biggest component of masculism, then I think men should be more masculine, or at the very least, more confident. That's what I would say.
Men are less masculine because they blame women for their inability to interact with women.
Yes,
That's
Yeah.
how men.
that's
Yeah,
true.
laying at the feet
can
of women.
agree
I
with
can't
that.
interact with you because you are too masculine, and that so it's your fault.
Right.
That's why I have my
Really
hands
tight.
up.
But
That's
isn't
literally why I
that
had my hands up for
Why is-
Angela. 'Cause I was
Okay, but
scared
why
of
is
Angela.
masculinity tied to your ability? Like when you guys are talking about masculinity and like a lot of your, examples, you invoke women. And so like, masculinity would hopefully lead you into a relationship with a woman that you like, but masculinity should be like separate from, the interactions it has. Like it should be about yourself, your virtues, the things that you do, not the things you do with like, I don't know.
What
like,
name one masculine trait that we can't tie back to the desire to impress or to obtain women?
I would say integrity. I said what I said.
That's
I
not
said what I
masculine. Women have integrity. So
No.
I think that's not
What
not
was
a
the
masculine.
question? What was the question?
No,
I said
Damien,
name
that was a jab.
Yeah, there's
No, I'm
one
just kidding, I'm just
masculine
kidding.
trait that you can't tie back to either impressing or obtaining women.
I think stoicism.
Accountability.
Well, no.
Huh.
Okay. I'm talking about the things that are traditionally deemed as masculine in male society.
I guess growing up, I never.
Well, you're
I saw,
right,
like, my
David. You're
father
right
act-
because there's David. You're right because there does seem to be a big dissociation between men and accountability these days. So I actually agree with you on that one.
Dane for the
More
win.
shots.
Right.
More
Dane for
shots.
the win. Dane for the win.
Rudy, go ahead. You had something to say.
Yeah,
What's up,
sorry I'm
Rudy?
late, but I guess I've never thought about the more masculine I am, the more I'll attract women. I always contribute masculinity to like character and integrity and honor, like somebody you respect.
Yeah.
That's what I always thought about it as. I mean, that's how I saw my dad and, people that I admired, coaches I admired. I never saw that other sense of it. And that was a good question by Damien. Honestly, I can't answer that. But when I hear about masculine, and to answer your original question, I think there's just a lot of confusion. Young men don't know how to be men or didn't have a proper role model. And there's a ton of confusion, especially with the internet saying you can't be masculine because it's toxic and then you got to be more feminine. So I really feel bad for a lot of young men who are confused on how to behave, because I'd probably be the same way if I was their age.
I think my biggest issue with that statement is when we enforce that men should only be masculine and they shouldn't tap into any other parts of their their emotions. Because I think that right there you're kind of forcing them to always be stoic, which also contributes to them not being able to express their You know,
Yeah.
hey, I'm having a tough time in medical school. Hey, like bills are gonna tight this month. I may not be able to do this. I'm a little fucking annoyed, guys. I want to off myself. Shit like that. I think they should be able to say these things because it's a genuine feeling. So I think
Yes,
that
they should. Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Why wouldn't
if
they
that's
yeah.
the re-
able to?
if that's
Because
the
if-
reaction that they're having from not expressing themselves, then they're not being stoic. They're being repressed.
Wait, being stoic doesn't mean you
Sto-
can express it.
Stoicism is it's a perspective, right? It's a philosophy or a worldview. So presumably, at least
a
I
behavior.
presume that people the behavior reflects an internal state, and is not just a front.
Right.
I'm gonna look up this definition because you lost me there, Flo. And I'm not gonna-
I don't think. I mean, personally, I don't think stoicism is one-to-one with masculinity. I think it can be a function of certain types of masculine men, but I don't think
Yeah.
you need to be stoic to be masculine. I do agree with Damien. When I'm thinking of masculinity and femininity, I'm thinking how it relates to relationships personally. So, especially when I'm thinking about like men and in general, my assumption is that a more masculine men generally will appeal to more women, like generally. So
Yeah.
with that said, that's why like I brought up confidence. It's a big component. They can have feminine traits. I don't mind that, but you as my assumption of like how certain general women perceive certain men, they probably would prefer them to be more masculine than feminine, in my opinion.
So I
I
think
think when
that
people-
sometimes
I
when we
agree.
talk about these issues or this topic, for example, sure, being masculine can attract a woman, but we also don't talk about if we can obtain them and keep them around. That you can attract them. There was a Jubilee thing where there was like these three guys who looked masculine, the other three guys were a little bit more metro or whatever, and the women would choose all the masculine guys in the beginning. Once you start asking questions, they were more in tune with like the personalities, with the guys who were a little more like within their feminine or within their emotions or emotional, whatever it is, beyond just being stoic. And the definition of stoicism is the endurance of pain and hardship without display of feelings, without
Right.
complaint. So that's that again, we're not talking about the issue, we're just displaying that we're a statue, and that doesn't actually address the issue. So sure, you can attract somebody like that, doesn't mean you can keep them. It's like being a hot girl. You can attract the guys, but doesn't mean that you can actually keep the guy. So it's
Good
the
point.
inverse of the same shit.
Yeah, good
Yeah,
point.
but
Yeah.
going
when
to
you
to
say
speak on your point,
stoicism,
Where did you get that definition? That's like the most superficial because I don't. That's not the type of stoicism I'm talking about. It's a philosophical view on how to handle life and
Can I-
problems and things that come in. And if you're just suppressing your emotions, I don't think that that's stoic or masculine. I think that addressing problems is stoic or is masculine, and that if your stoicism is fake, that's not stoicism or masculine.
Yeah, and just
So
to add to that, hold on, because
Well-
he's right about the definitions. Stoicism is philosophy school of thought that originated in the Greek, ancient Greek, around the third. I'm gonna go with that, but that's
The
pretty much the
second
basis of it.
definition is right there. So
What?
I'm
but
sorry, I didn't
don't-
see it.
What are we arguing, guys? It's right there. I don't understand this right now.
I wasn't
they're
arguing. I was
talking,
just
they're talking about the second definition.
okay. I wasn't looking at the screen. He said it. I looked it up on my end. I was just confirming what he's just said. That's all.
Yes.
No
Yeah.
worries.
Okay, I think when you're saying stoicism, what you really mean is confidence, but not just confidence, because you can't be, not everybody who's confident is stoic. The difference being is that when you're stoic, through your confidence, you also understand the difference between confidence and arrogance. So that's like what stoicism really is, I think, at the end of the day. That's how it's functionally plays out.
You think it's
I don't know if
arrogant?
that made any sense. No, stoicism is being confident without being arrogant.
Okay.
And knowing when and when not. kind
Yeah,
of
it's
thing.
called. It's like control for emotions, acceptance of nature, armor, like pretty much everything. Flow state addressed earlier. So
Yeah, it could
But if you
definitely
look
be
at
a
the
strong
op-
philosophy.
What would you consider the opposite of stoicism? Like if you said somebody was really stoic, and like what would their
Chaotic.
antithesis be?
Neurotic.
chaotic. Yeah, neurotic, chaotic.
okay.
Irrational.
Yeah.
And I just
So-
think both of those terms are tied to emotion, right? So at the end of the day, if you have the confidence to address your emotions in like a decent way, then yeah. Go ahead.
I
Sorry,
agree.
go for it.
I
No,
agree.
no worries. But to address Angie's point, I agree that this should be a deeper conversation, but I think the first part is extremely important, which is why, based off this conversation of masculinity, some guys can't even attract women. They can't even approach women. They can't even talk to women. They see a woman, they just go right to their phones and don't even make eye contact. So I agree that it's deeper than the attraction, but some of these dudes need the first step. They can't even do the first step. So
Well,
that's why I think that's
but it's a choice. So I'll use another example. So I just joined another Discord server and I got invited, and it's predominantly incels in that community. And I was
That's how
pre-warned.
Discord is.
Yeah. Well, no, this is extremely. But the person that invited me on is understanding, at least with me, he's understanding the balance. There was one specific person in that server that was pretty much expressing, and he wasn't trauma dumping, he was just talking about like how he was addicted to corn and how he's like healing from all that shit. And there's me and I think like 2 other girls there that get along with him the most, not because we're simping, just because I was like, yo, I can respect the fact that you're open about your issues and that you're healing from it. I think it's cool. Is somebody praying? What the fuck is that?
sounds like a plane.
AC kicked in or something. I don't know.
Okay, so the reason why I bring up this example is, okay, so the girls gravitated towards the guy who was able to display. He's 6'3", he's not unattractive. He was able to articulate his points in his position, and also get along with women because he understands like, okay, there's a dynamic between being masculine and feminine. There's a time and a place for it. While the other guys just talked to me like I was in the Call of Duty lobby, and I was like, okay, that's fine. Like, this is Discord. I'm kind of used to it. Whatever. Did I bond with the other guys as much? Did I really want to talk to them? Not really, because I didn't feel like defending myself. Like, I'm not a commie in this bitch. But it didn't matter. So the whole point was these guys are calling him a simp because I was like, yo, I like the fact, and I say this in the general chat. So my point to this entire story is being a man, sure, being masculine is important, but also displaying that you can actually, communicate with a woman or, tap into your masculine and your feminine traits. It doesn't take away or emasculate you. It just displays that you're able to be flexible with your emotions. And there's a time and a place to be a chef and sometimes to be a janitor. And I thought that was really cool. Just an example.
Yeah, just to kind of piggyback up that point you said, like the early example you said about the 3 guys and that were masculine and 3 guys that were less masculine, what have you. And you said the women gravitated toward the masculine guys. Yes, when you have the conversations, when you have opened up the lines of communications, those traits become less important. Like, oh, I don't need him to be, chiseled or Greek god body or whatever like that, because there's something else that they are providing that you find more valuable. But the initial reaction and the initial attraction was to the stereotypical masculine frame.
Yeah,
That's
but
what it was.
But we're looking for answers that hold up in society. So if we're looking for something like, okay, this attracted me, but I didn't stay. Like this kept me like happy, but it didn't last. Like weed or substance and all that stuff. It keeps you happy, but for how long? We're looking for a lifelong substance here. We're looking for something that actually works. So we're looking for an anecdote for how to get along with each other. It matters because when you're looking at a woman, looking at a man, I want to know that if we had kids together, that you could actually express your emotions. You could actually bond with the child. You could bond with me during postpartum depression. If you're just showing that you're a stoic guy who's like, no, I'm a barbarian cowboy, that's cool. If we were in a movie like Legend of the Falls, cool. But that's not a happy ending either because you couldn't express that you were depressed. You couldn't see me. So we're going to have to weigh our odds. Like, I think that's my whole point to this conversation.
But it sucks to be the second guy because you knew you weren't the first choice, and you're kind of like you fought the second guy. That's what it's saying. A lot of times it'll be that second guy's like, well, I knew you're kind of. Do you feel like you're settling on me, or do I feel like you settled on me because the other guy didn't meet some other need you? He met the first basic need that you have, but because he didn't meet something else, then you'll settle for what I got. That just
does it really matter? It doesn't really matter though, because we're everybody's second choice. I mean, everybody's had a pass. So.
But you don't see it in your face. It's not right in front of your face.
No, it's happened before, but I don't care. But I know how it could affect other guys. But everybody's had other choices. Or
I think that's if you look at it like you're settling. Like I think, all right, when you all look at each other, do you guys not size each other up? Like you're like, oh, he's a pretty boy with a pretty face. So if a guy can do that to each other, why can't a woman do that? Like it's a preference thing. So if you look at it like she's settling, no, she sizes them up, realize like you have nothing to offer but a pretty face. Respectfully, you're somebody else's cup of tea. But if you look at it from a man's lens and say, well, she settled for me. No, baby, I just took off the lens and realized this is just a body kit. We don't need to fuck with that. Like, and there's nothing wrong with viewing it that way. But if your perception is that it's wrong, I won't dismiss you for feeling that way or thinking it that way. But I think more people should hear that. No, you're not settling. If anything, we just dodged a huge bullet for both.
Okay, well, flip the script. If that was if roles were reversed and it was the guy walking up to, it was a group of 3 women, and he walks up to one to try to talk to that person, and she doesn't give him the time of day, and then he goes to you. You determine that most women won't feel like I'm not somebody's second choice. You're not going to come to me after that. That's kind of how it's like. It's easy to say that, but
that's
your emotions you take what.
But you're talking about like a direct, like if I was in a bar and I saw you just kind of hop the bar and talk to a girl. Yeah, obviously it's gonna be like, yeah, we saw the guy who's talking to every chick. He's for the streets. He's the community man. Nobody wants that. Just no one wants a community girl. So that's for your example, sure. But if you were dating someone for 3 months and you found out she was just superficial and you didn't want to date, and you dated, I don't know, Martha, who had more to offer, and I'm like, okay, she's not as hot as Sarah, but maybe she's like, I don't know, a 7 compared to a 10. To me, I'm like, I don't care. I'm just happy I got what I wanted. People just want to be with someone that they love and feel good.
I agree with that.
Okay, cool. Well, then we don't disagree then. That was easy. All right, y'all are very civil and very calm. I don't know what to do right now.
I suggest moving our hands up.
Okay, so another thing I have to. Okay, so how do you guys feel about when you are? Another reason that contributes to people not expressing something is the immature reactions that we often get. Is that something you can control? Do you think that's something that it's just by nature? Or do you think that we have to tolerate it? How do you guys feel about your partner having an immature reaction towards your thoughts, your feelings in general? Do we hate this? Can it be changed? Starting with Rudy, since you came in last, Grey Pill, Neve, and then Damien. Bam.
Oh, I was actually trying to think of an answer because my fiance doesn't have any immature reactions. I'm the one with the immature reactions.
Is she beside? Is she still
I respond to it?
Yeah.
Where is she?
Yeah, let me go ask her real quick. I'll be right back. I don't know. I mean, skip to somebody else. I don't have an answer, but that's my genuine first response right now.
Wait. Do you think that your immature reactions affect the relationship at all, or like how you guys could like communicate sometimes, or no?
Well, it's deeper why I'm reacting that way, because she's living with me now. This is the first woman I've lived with since since I was married. So I'm being very proactive, and like if I see something that this is how it started back then when I had my marriage, when it failed, how we talked to each other. So I'm bringing up issues that aren't existing yet, but I'm seeing the genesis of it. So it's deeper than that, but it's just me just trying to adjust to a new lifestyle. And I know this is off topic and not what you're looking to gather from anybody, but
I'm not content picking. I'm just asking. So
yeah,
there's no motive behind it. Before we go on, Talcott clip collection. Get the fuck out of here if you think this is a shitty ass live, you loser. Anybody else? Great Pill?
Jeez. At least when I kicked my people, I was a little bit. I was so nice.
I don't know what this person is, but you're coming in here insulting. Like, you don't have to watch it. Go watch another channel. That's just so weird. You have unlimited options, but you sit here and complain. This is the most entitled generation I've ever seen. Like, it's a flex to complain when you don't like something. I thought people just ghost. I get shitty services all the time, and I still tip, and I just don't come back. I don't leave a review. Who does that? I attempted to report somebody. It was too much work, and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm just going. Like, it's just weird that I'm a chick and I have to do that, and then I see other men or other people who have to act like, oh yeah, like men don't get respected, but you're acting like a bitch. So I'm gonna call you. If you're gonna act a bitch, own it. I don't care. Like that's wild. So yeah. Anyways, somebody needs an ass whooping, and it's a lot of people in this generation, and I will happily do it because I'm Asian and we can get away with it.
Maybe he needs to be more stoic. Maybe, but no.
Thank you.
It's not. I mean, I'm thinking to. But kudos to Rudy. I think Rudy might be my mentor in the future sometime by some conversations. But because I took a time, like for myself, I took like a whole time break from like this serious relationship. I had one serious relationship. Far as the silliness, we both was that way. We pretty much just like kind of laughed it off or like deemed it wasn't too serious. Let's say, for example, if she was laying on my chest and she wake up drooling, she would think about what her past relationship guy, but like, oh, that's disgusting. And she would get triggered, but like, and I'm like, babe, that's a natural thing. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm just reflecting about my past one. We just don't put too much issues on it. We just laugh at something because we both was compatible with the silliness. But moving forward for myself, I just stay working myself. And if I come across that one that's, hey, you know, like for example, I had one I stayed the night. I'm like, I don't really not comfortable with somebody spending the night because I like sleeping alone. So I don't know. I just kind of like spoon feed a little bit of my silliness, my personality, see where they fit in, and then if they like it, they like it. So I give a little bit more. If not, then I just kind of shift over to the next.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Thank you for that. Neve?
I'm a demon on the
Okay.
street.
I'm gonna say like I'm gonna actually like identify two behaviors. So for women, I think a lot of the times it could be like I don't know, like using your tears to kind of get out of a situation. This is something that like I'm a pretty emotional person, and I've found that in meaningful confrontations that I have a tendency to get that way at points. But for me, it was always about like that's the immature reaction, I think, because if like somebody's needs to address something with you, then what you're really doing is making the situation about you in that circumstance. So it's actually not fair to the person who's like actually trying to address an issue. So in like that circumstance, I might tell someone like, okay, like obviously this is gonna suck for me to hear, but like if I spend the next 10 minutes crying through your like explanation, then just know that I'm gonna take the onus upon myself to like revisit this conversation when I'm obviously not crying. And then for men, it's just super like I would say like it's the spectrum of inconsideration, I think. Whether it's like the people around you not recognizing why like a particular action has led to an emotion. It's not that like you need to understand why like okay she's upset right now or she's angry right now. Like that's only part of the issue, but the real issue is like why, like what were the actions that made this happen kind of thing. And I think a lot of people like overlook that. But yeah, generally like in consideration, and that is like obviously going to be at her her what am I trying to say, she's going to decide what that is in her head regardless of what you think. So it's tough to like address that, like knowing the fact. Because yeah, like inconsideration could be like not spending enough not spending enough time with her, right? So it is going to feel like a bit of a a tightrope. But I generally feel like yeah, that those are definitely some things that I would regard as like immature from both sides.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Damien?
I mean, I'll give two answers to that. Number one, there's the first 8 years and the last 8 years of my relationship. First 8 years, it was I didn't have as much regard for her perspective as I probably should have. So probably lead me to like respond things immaturely, just like what Neve said. Like if she started crying, I'd be like, "Why are you crying? It's not that important, It's not a big cry on it," because I had no consideration of her perspective. So and then the last 8 years when we've gone through therapy and we've kind of like read stuff together, it's just like now I have more consideration for her perspective. It's just like, you're crying, that means something is like, what is it that you're viewing in the situation that I'm not viewing? Let's talk about it. Maybe you can make me understand, and then I can understand your perspective. But you need to understand mine as well. My perspective is this is something that I'm not a crier, so it's nothing that it's not going to be something that I'm going to immediately understand. So once we got that out of the way, like just looking through our own perspective and we start considering other person's perspective, it started to be a lot more fruitful, and we didn't have the whole immature response kind of went out the door.
Okay, thank you. Good shit. Riddell?
I'm gonna preface this by saying that I am not a good example on how to act in these situations. I tend to not be a very emotional person, so that's not a good thing. It's not cool. I'm just saying that. Obviously, when it comes to immature actions, one way that I may have used it is to kind of get, you know what I'm saying, in the bed. So that's just one way that happened based off of a situation. They're immature, led to something, of course. And then another one is like I was definitely one of those persons that Neve was referring to, where it's like I try to logically diagnose everything. So something happened, I'm like, okay, what is going on? Let's just figure it out. And I was trying to diagnose and see what's going on. And obviously, a lot of these times there's no logic to it, so there's really no connection there. There's no bridge to be found, and that disconnect didn't, make any good interactions, obviously, for anything, bigger. But with that said, I do think it depends on your feelings for the person, because a lot of my relationships tend not to be like lovey-dovey. I've never been in love or anything. So I feel like if you're in love, I feel like something that Damien's went through, where you're like trying to find that connection and try to work through these things, are much more of a realistic scenario. But if you're in like these normal dating relationships, casual relationships, I could see why people like myself probably just don't take it as seriously, like he was saying, in the first 8 years.
Okay, cool. I'll attack you on some of those points later. Flow state.
What was the question?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, or if you just want to skip me because I was absent, that's fine. But what's the?
Oh, we were just talking about how to deal with someone that has like an immature reaction towards your feelings and how you would handle it.
I guess anecdotally, I mean, if it's immature, if it's way immature, then I mean, to reference the title of the video, I'll dismiss the fuck out of that shit. If it's a person like my girlfriend now handles criticism worse than, not very well. I realize that that's a peculiarity of her. And so it just is what it is. I work with it. I'm softer with criticism with her than I would be with most other people. And it's just that one area. Everything else she handles better than most, I think. So I think that there's some accommodation is good. But there's a limit to everything.
So wait, so when you say that she's softer, would you say that you're softening up and talking to your girlfriend is like almost equivalent to how you would do it with your daughter? Are you saying that?
What?
Like how you are with your daughter, is that you're saying like you're soft with her, you're not as like rash with your daughter, right?
Well, I suppose, I don't know. They're different dynamics. I can compare her to my ex-wife easier. My ex-wife didn't get, wasn't as offended by criticism, but was more sort of reactive to me in weird ways that didn't make sense to me.
Can I ask a quick question? Have you tried to understand where that come from? Have you sit there and be like, okay, what does criticism mean to you? What is it? Why is it that it's so hard for you to take it? What does me criticizing mean to you? Does you feel like I'm not loving you? I don't respect you? That I'm just focusing on your flaws? Because there's questions that could be asked that can kind of help you understand why it is, and then you can kind of
I think I understand
maneuver through it.
Right? No,
you don't feel like you have to like just totally. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. When I give criticism, in my head, the criticism of the action or whatever it is completely independent of the value of the person. And for her, it's not received that way. And I just recognize that on her end, they're probably a little too tied up. And on my end, they're probably further separated than is normal. So I think that both of us are sort of have mental starting points that are a little bit on the opposite ends. So,
because then you can get, then you're saying it right there. If you can get her perspective, if you can understand her perspective and she can understand your perspective, that, hey, I don't view criticism as that bad. So to me, giving criticism doesn't have any kind of lasting effect. But if her perspective is, criticism means that you are finding fault in me consistently, and eventually you might leave me if those faults tend to mount, then you can kind of adjust it because the way you criticize maybe, and because you understand her perspective. I'm just saying,
that's exactly what we both do. She takes things less personal now over time, and I use softer gloves when I have something to address, so absolutely though, you're right.
So you're saying that's something that you had to adjust? Do you think that's strange? Do you think it's normal? Do you think it's something that you had to reprogram? No. Like what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a totally healthy part of a relationship to make some accommodations. Nobody comes without flaws or things that you have to learn about. I think it's part of a healthy relationship, and I think it's also part of me maturing, part of having having an ex-wife and having been through a bad relationship is not only do you learn about the things you don't want in your next one, you learn about some things about yourself that maybe aren't as perfect as you thought that you were.
Oh, that's good. That's cool. I like that. I think to also touch into that when it comes to like why people think women are like more emotional or whatever the case can be. As somebody who like manages women and people all the time, I've definitely learned even from my own experience. Most guys, you guys are pretty in like an authoritative position. You don't really have to obey to a chick. It's pretty much like your lead, your follow for the most part, at least historically, and you probably carried that on. But I think like for women, when we're dealing with the guy, if you think about like sexually, the positions that women have to be in is quite degrading. The position that we're in life, we have to. No, I'm being really honest. I know it sounds like funny, but like men don't have to be in degrading positions in life for the most part. Maybe you get challenged by your boss, your homeboys, your buddies to be better, but it's really just like but for women historically. And I'm not even a fucking feminist if everyone gives me shit, but I'm just saying it derives from somewhere where if I'm constantly being questioned, belittled, I mean, on top of that, you're attacking me on something that you may not agree, but you're coming at from your man logic or your man like you and your homeboys don't owe each other shit but respect. So when you guys talk, you can just give it to each other straight. Like, yo, I don't like the fact that you curb check my rooms that way. Fuck you, fix it. It's very simple. But with your girl, it's like, hey, I still have to cook dinner, submit to you, obey to you, raise your kids, you know, sleep next to you or walk behind you. This is just like the extreme example for like what people pull from. But for the most part, I think all that essence is still around. So when you go from that position and still be disrespected because you're used to talking to your homeboys or like men in combat that way, I think that people have a hard time compartmentalizing that it's different when you're dealing with women, like your daughter or your wife, your mother. We don't have the same tonality that we do with our homeboys to the women in our family.
I agree with that conclusion. I'm not sure about the other baggage that you describe being drug into the situation.
Okay, sure.
I
mean, you're a guy, so like
Right.
my thing was like when I talk to men generally, they're always gonna say, Angela, you would never understand how it feels like to be a man. I'm like, fine, question me on what you think I don't understand, and I can finish the sentence off, and you can
So-
check me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
But-
I guess you said that you basically, in not these exact words, it sounded like you were saying that being a woman is degrading in other areas of life.
Well, the way that it's framed primarily like online when we talk about these issues and people in general, why do you think women fought so hard for feminism and all this shit? And it's turned into this shithole or whatever the fuck it is now. But for the most part, you go for something that you think it's right and it turns into something else. But the point is, it's always the back burner for women. Stay in the kitchen, do your job. You have to submit. You lead, I follow. And on top of that, you don't like something. So it's a constant hit to the ego. Any person has some sort of ego that, damn, what am I doing right? You're not happy with me. I take the back burner. And then to you, it's like, I just said I didn't like the way that, you know, you looked at so-and-so, the way you talked to so-and-so, because that was disrespectful. But the way you say it, to you, it's like not important. But to someone like your daughter, when you talk to her, you would probably stop before you just go in rash. You would probably think about how that affects her feelings.
I mean, but that same dynamic could be said the other way around, right? Like everybody carries baggage and experiences into any interaction.
But I have to respect you. Like there's a cycle where like, if I respect you, you show me love. If I show you love, then you show me respect. Like it's like a cycle. Like somebody has to give each other one or the other. And if I don't show you the respect, you will never give me the love. It's going to be a chicken and egg situation.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's cool. Did we just lose somebody? Who do we lose?
He said he's private chat.
Okay, cool. Dad mode. How long have we hit here? Okay, we still have like 30 minutes left. I think that's pretty much for that topic. So we have come to conclusion, at least to dismissing your partner's emotion is something that we've socially constructed and we've just ignored and just normalized it. So what are our conclusions and thoughts on this?
I would disagree that it's socially constructed. I think it's more like when it's inappropriate, which I still maintain that there is some appropriate times to dismiss your partner's emotions, but I would say that it's more when it's inappropriate, it's more just a function of individuals being jerks and selfish than it is actually socially constructed.
Yeah, to be honest, I do think it's socially constructed. I mean, we referred back to a lot of the things back in the day where like men were told just be a man, right? They're told, hey, don't reveal your feelings, don't be emotional, don't do all this stuff, do your job, come back home, you know, all that stuff. And then the women obviously are seen to be more emotional. They can let out their feelings a lot more. So I think that general interpretation of how men and women are supposed to be looked at throughout the generations. I mean, matter of fact, people call these dynamics traditional relationships. So there's an obvious standard of what people thought these roles were. So nowadays, with everything that's changing with society, with the increase of feminism, with the more expressive nature on who you are, with certain things being a lot more fluid, it's definitely breaking down compared to before. But obviously, we don't want to go too far to the point where it's like, oh, you don't need to be masculine, you don't need to be feminism. I wouldn't go that far.
True. I like that.
I
That's cool.
agree, yeah.
Point. Damien?
Yeah, I just think like be open to have the conversations to where you can like share your perspective and be open to understand the other person's perspective. So that way you can effectively build those safe spaces to where people can express those emotions. That way you're not ignoring because the people, and a lot of times it's not even about ignoring them. A lot of times it's that people just not expressing them because they don't feel like it's either going to be you're not going to empathize with them or you're going to be scrutinized for it. So just create have those conversations, share your perspective, understand the other person's perspective, create those safe spaces, and then you'll find that you're sharing a lot more than you probably thought you were ever going to be, and you won't feel judged for it, or you'll feel heard when you've done it.
All right. Cool. Coming from a dad. Cool. Neve? Oh, you're muted. Hold on. Well, no, you're not muted, but we can't hear you.
I don't think I understand the question.
Honestly, I lost the question at this point.
Somebody help me out.
Is the concept of you dismissing your partner's feelings, is that
The normal. Is it normal?
was that socially constructed?
Oh yeah, I was simmering on Damien's thought. My bad. I was like, okay, yeah, good point.
He's
Go
back in
ahead.
your favor now.
I mean, it's definitely socially constructed, and I think that like over time it's gonna get better. But yeah, I think it's generally about like people rationing their energy at the end of the day, and then being too really clueless to communicate that. And when you're in a relationship, you can't always do that. So yeah, that's my 2 cents.
All right. I'm gonna add 3 more cents to Neve and make it a nickel. I agree with Dane, Riddell, and Neve. I believe it's social construct. I believe moving forward, hopefully, I know it's not gonna be an absolute all men, but it's gonna be more and more men gonna sit there and realize, okay, well, I can have the conversation. I can sit there alone with my spouse and be a little bit more open. But at the same time, like Damien said, you got to vet properly and pick and choose who's the ones. Because again, some people are still stuck in that. Because majority of women say it all the time, like, I want a man to be a man. What does that mean to you? That's the conversation. So if they don't know how to have that conversation, what defines a man for them, and then obviously if I'm not it, then I need to eject myself out that relationship with the chick, because there's no way I'm going to sit there and be the type of man she wants when I'll be pretending.
How do you guys feel about when men get along with women, or when men hold other men accountable and you get shamed and get called a simp? Do you guys think that's fair? Do you think that's like normal? What are your thoughts on that?
It's hypocrisy.
It's funny because like I go to a couple of places, all over the place. I go to fatties and all that kind of stuff like that. And they drop that word. I get to drop that word online because I'm all about fairness. But on the same thing, if I'm on a show that's predominantly women and going hard on men, I'm coming back at them as well. I'm all about everything being fair. And I think a lot of it has come from bitter people. And that's the way I look at it. There's a lot of bitter guys who sit there and they're like, no. We need to be able to hate men, or we need to be able to hate women in peace. What are you doing here? You're bringing too much reality in the situation. We need this echo chamber where we can all get together and hate on the other gender. And we don't want this reality shit coming in, or we don't want this critical thinking shit coming in. So you need to get out of here because you're a simp.
Yeah.
I think I'm very good at compartmentalizing that shit. And like, yeah, it's it's like that.
Oh, okay.
Ye-
Go ahead, Riddell.
So, I mean, I definitely think sometimes you could use the terminology and it could be pretty funny, not gonna lie. But sometimes you could use it as a joke based off the circumstance. And then sometimes stuff like what Damien says happens as well, where these, very red pill guys out there want to tokenize the term to the point to say that anybody who supports a woman is a simp, right? So we definitely know the pros and the cons for the term. Honestly, the term doesn't really it has really no value beyond that. But I will say this, that letting other people dictate your actions, I always thought is cringe, bro. Just because some dude or some girl called you a simp and you're acting how you believe, then you shouldn't let them sway your actions. So I think that is a more important thing, because people will say whatever because they're haters, but they're just haters. They're just talkers. They're just chatters, and their comments about you is irrelevant at the end of the day.
I so agree with that because it don't even have to come down to the word. It could just be the pressures of it is crazy. It literally just happened because we was doing a conversation, so it kind of adds up to this currently. I gonna say I didn't because it happened with pro things, but so much many little buzz came from it to the point was like, don't speak on this individual no more. I'm like, nobody didn't speak on the individual. Everybody was more on the talking points, but it came more of a pressure on my end to uh I either not mention it or not bring it up anymore. Just pretty much like a one and done. There's other things. I got so many options of more conversation to have, and I was like, "That's cool." I already planned this out in my head where I'm gonna go with it. Pretty much where Dale was saying like, "Hey, I'm gonna still be me," and I know me. So I was like, "Well, it's gonna be maybe a one or two more conversations and just gonna move on," because I had expectations of how the outcome is gonna go, but I'm gonna still move forward. But I'm 100% with that. Like when you see and aware of certain people's behaviors, when they try to dictate their ideas or their beliefs on you, that is cringe. Because if you know you and you're okay with you being you, just be that same person. Especially if you have success and you being you. If that makes any sense with anybody here, if you like you, move forward. If you get success from that, keep being you. Especially with virtual people, I'll leave that there. But as far as real life people, the same thing. I've never been the one to like, I always been my own eyeball. I love a free thinker. I love weird. It just judges me. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, I don't
there
think
you
people in real life are comfortable with Sims. I think people in real life are they're too scared
Yeah,
to do it. It's only
I
online.
don't know, man. I
yeah.
think so. Or just on my end, I think there's always been like because I tell people I'm like four different worlds. There's the up north. There's like the southern parts of up north. There's south of the south, and then everywhere I go, there's always people like, hey, I've never met nobody like you. I never seen nobody like you, and I'm like, okay, cool, and I just brush it off and move it on.
I
Nobody
want
in a
to.
working relationship has ever called.
Wait. I just want to make sure, Flow State, if you had any thoughts on that, because you
Sorry
didn't get
about
a
that.
chance to tap in on the statement of like how you react and how you feel about people calling other men a simp when they stand up for whatever they believe is right or fair or logical. What are your thoughts on it?
I mean, it's one of those words where definitely like there are real simps, but also it's definitely used by by simps. Simps misuse the word simp.
It's also true.
True.
I do want to address something that
That's
Evan
right.
said in the chat. I usually don't address this, but I mean, some people need to understand common sense. So I'm going to help you, Evan. I'm going to help you with common sense. When it comes down to constructive criticism, that is valuable to kind of shape how you're supposed to be. Saying simp is not constructive criticism. It's an insult. Yes, you're a hater if you just insult people for no reason. So again, common sense. I helped you out. Don't worry about it, pal. I got you.
Nobody in a
Well
working
said.
relationship has ever called me a simp. Nobody in a working relationship has ever referred to me as a simp.
Well, it blows my mind because
Yeah, I
like, okay,
never heard that before.
if men aren't respecting other men, then why do they expect women to respect men? That's the crazy part. If you're leading by example, if you're gonna shit on each other, then why should we demand women to respect you? That's the absolute craziest part. Like if I see everyone gets along with Grey Pill, everyone gets along with Damien. Damien, you guys have always been like everyone likes you guys. If you being a simp is such a bad thing, you have a collective group of men and women who support you. So if we look at the stats, who's fucking winning? The guy surrounded by the sausage fest or the guy who have men and women that support him? I think that's so crazy that that's an insult. That's their go-to insult. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think they ain't met each other in real life in before his marriage. I think we'd have been the best friends, man. Because like a lot of stuff me and him conversate about, I've been doing the same thing.
I would have got you in a lot of mess though, GP.
I know. I'd have loved it too.
Oh, yeah. I don't have any other anything else to add on to this. Anyone wants to drop in on their thoughts or any last thoughts or anything? I usually wrap my show up around like 2 hours and 45 minutes, so we still have like how long do we have left? 20
We had a nice little compressed conversation. Everybody sharing like real ideas. This is really good.
Yeah, I enjoy these conversations. I know everybody's used to the rah stuff and all the crazy stuff. I think Flow State comes with a very aggressive following. Is that your following of like?
That is, and I've well, the one in question is the same fucking dude, just jumping channels as I block one. It's like whack-a-mole with him.
Yeah, no, I'm not worried. I was just wondering. I like to understand everybody's audience as they come on.
Mm-hmm.
That within itself is why I have a really hard time. How do I say this? Like, you often hear people say like women shouldn't be masculine or whatever it could be. But like if I'm on the internet, I'm working. I don't have a choice. I'm not making butter from scratch. We're living in a pretty like in a world where everything's already made. So I'm working on the internet, and if a guy can or a girl, whoever it is, doesn't have the discernment to recognize rejection, and you act this way, this is why we have spaces where we talk about these things to prove that, hey, you're not as special as you think you're not as bright as you think you are, because you can't handle rejection, and you can't handle the fact that, hey, I don't like you, I don't want you here, go somewhere else. That's completely unhinged. You're proving why you get trolled on for being a simp or a dumbass. Is my only statement.
Yeah, but you see, for you or just overall, it's the momentary judgment. So like, for example, you check the one guy. So for him, he's going to judge you off that moment, not even trying to actually get to know you. You know what I'm saying? Which I think is weird.
But you're giving him what he want. You're giving him what he want. I'm serious. You're giving him something that he probably is missing throughout his entire existence. An attractive woman is acknowledging him. He's getting acknowledgement from people.
Giving him something that he needed is what I'm saying. He needed to ask. Exactly. He needed someone to check. I think sometimes people can say barbaric shit, and then they have this phrase where say women should just be submissive. Anyone who has a daughter would not say your daughter should be submissive to fucking strangers who immediately back up the hand, just treat her like shit and say stupid things. This is a combative space. Welcome to the goddamn lobby, fuckers. If you say stupid shit, I'll give it to you right back. I don't care. This is the greatest part about not working for corporate. I do what I want. So it's absolutely crazy that people think I'm supposed to like conform to some bullshit like blueprint that you curated in your head that you punish yourself for. Absolutely crazy. To each their own.
There's a lot of people who are ignored throughout their in their real life. So any kind of acknowledgement on these spaces is just like, woohoo! Somebody noticed me.
Yeah, I don't know. I was okay. Is this mostly?
Oh God,
Dub, he's your number one fan.
No, because I've told some stories about my past that I'm kind of wish I wouldn't have told in my wilder days. That
I haven't heard them yet.
I won't be repeating. No.
Why not, Dame? Well, everybody likes you. Why not?
Now everybody's just gonna have to like go looking for them, and who knows what else they'll dig up in the search for those stories.
Man. I'm just a little too forthcoming with some of this wild shit.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you got you can't really engage with these people online though, because at the end of the day, they're people behind the screens for a reason. I mean, they won't talk to you, they won't face you face to face. They won't. A lot of these guys won't even hop on a call and go like, "Bro, let's talk this out," because they want to, insult from a distance. They just want to. They want that attention, but they don't want you to know who they really are. So
I think that exactly describes the dude in question as well.
Yeah. It's funny because like somebody once said on a panel I was on, he was like, "That's like you're in a club enjoying yourself, and you see a guy flipping you up from out the window, and you spend any amount of time yelling with the guy that couldn't even get in to the party." It's like, what are you doing?
Riddell, that's how you feel. Riddell, that's how you feel about me. That's so crazy, bro. I'm an
What are you talking about?
That's just so crazy. Like,
what are you talking about?
I'm talking about people online. I'm a guy online and everything. Like that's how you feel about me. That's wild to me, bro.
Dub, you're the one that be saying some of these people need to go outside. You be the same energy, bro.
See, I'm the
I
balance of
agree.
both worlds, bro. I realize how much stuff I do, and it's actually crazy. Like I have like 3 different worlds that I live, and it's so fun. I'm not even gonna hold you. I have my
I feel
internet
that.
world, and my internet world. I have my the basketball world, the life world. I have the family world. It's just so many worlds all in one person, bro. I just love to see it, man. It's great. It's awesome. My bad. I'm rambling right now. I apologize.
It's all good, brother.
No, you're good. You're good.
You always
yeah,
come
we're,
with some cool shit.
yeah, we're on like the last 15 minutes of the show, so it's a free game for anyone to just literally shoot whatever. I gotta reply to this 1 second.
What?
Do you want to get him before I bounce him?
Get what? Huh?
This guy great, bro.
Oh, Evan, do you want? I thought that's what you were going to reply to.
Oh, Evan. He
In
wants
the-
me
in the
to
comments?
never save his life, bro. Like, you don't want me to save your life, dog? I mean,
What if his
Yeah.
teeth were on fire? Would you piss in his mouth?
Oh yeah, why not? If we
yeah,
gotta
I can
save
help
him,
him.
we gotta save him. You gotta
Yeah.
whip that thing out, yo, bro. Open
That's
up.
the only heroic thing to do.
Hey,
Exactly.
man.
That's
We're
the
trying to-
Christian thing to do.
Yep.
Yeah, we're all equals out here, boy. Come on now.
Now no, I'm not doing this. Let me ask y'all, right? So what was the whole discussion about the
Don't do that.
partnership
We're not
system?
gonna rehash the whole discussion in the last 10 minutes.
Okay, my bad. My
Let's talk
bad.
about whatever you want to talk about.
You know why we can't? Because every time we talk about these things, Dub says it's like we're complicating it. We're complicating
That's
something.
not what I'm. No, that's not what. No.
You
that's
said it
not-
yesterday. You said
Everybody
it
said what they
yesterday.
said for the last 2 hours in 10 minutes.
What I said yesterday, and it's like I talk in a very broad scale, so I have to do a better job of trying to minimize things. It's not that everything is too complex. I just feel as if a lot of people, especially in a more privileged setting you come from, a lot of people spend too much time complicating things that don't need to be so complicated, right? That's just human nature in general, right? The more time we have on our hands, the more times we're just gonna think about like stupid stuff that we really don't even need to be thinking about, right? I just think there's some
Yeah.
things that people waste times on debating and everything that I just don't think needs to be debated as much.
People
Yeah,
wanna
like
find
LeBron
deeper
James or Michael
meaning.
Jordan. Who's better?
Yeah.
I mean, I make a show about basketball, bro, and I get
Yeah.
like we get money for that. I mean, that's just a perfect example of people wasting time on things that don't. I'm
People
dead
want to
ass.
find deeper
No,
meaning
I feel
in
you.
But
everything.
there's a privilege within it with everything that we do.
Easy.
So I think like the quality in like your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. So if you want to have like a very simple life, then yeah, we'll have simple thoughts, no big deal. But if you want to have like a quality life because you want to have options, you want to have like, you know, like pretty much whatever you want at your hand to disposal, we have the opportunity now. So when we touch on complex conversations and you say they're like too complex, it's like, all right, well then we can vanilla the shit out of this and just wonder why we don't live like a life where we can have opportunities. I think like life's just supposed to have friction. Friction is what creates opportunities.
I do
But
think that I do
Everything
think
doesn't
there's
have to
room.
be
Yes.
overcomplicated. And I think, you know, and I'm looking, I'm on your page now because, like,
Yes.
seriously, I went to Home Depot. I wanted to hang a picture. My wife wanted me to hang this picture in her bathroom. And there was like 80 different things to help hang the picture. I was like, realistically, all I need is a nail and a hammer. Why do I need this electric level that you can stick on the wall that has the line? And but things have gotten
Well,
way
yeah.
too overcomplicated. And I think a lot of our society is overcomplicating things that don't even need to be complicated.
Yeah, like somebody I know had like some kind of weird hot dog slicer thingy. I don't know what that was, but
If anything,
don't
that was
need
like,
Was
whoa,
it like
whoa,
a
whoa, whoa,
toaster?
whoa. See, you see, it's funny how we conflate all these things together. There's a difference between technology that's unique and make your life easier. You can stand there and slice the hot dogs and little no, this thing just did all that. My husband likes it. Who gives a shit? It has grill marks in it. He likes texture on the hot dogs. It makes him happy. He's a grill master,
Valid.
whatever.
then
Valid.
my suggestion would be get some Hebrew National, some good quality hot
Wait,
dogs.
but that's what drives me. That's
But
what
if he
drives me
never
nuts.
had that, he would be just fine. He knew if he
Yes.
knew that existed, he'd be just
but
fine.
this is
Y'all
why I
sound
say-
like
You don't know that.
boomers. Not gonna lie, bruh.
This is why I say we're
This
living.
from the person who got Luffy in the back. Don't talk.
Don't
This is-
disrespect Luffy. Stop it.
Okay, but I'm this is what I'm saying. We are privileged, and there's nothing wrong with the privilege if you can respect everything and you can appreciate it and reciprocate everything. It's not like we're just like spoiled brats here. Like,
It's the
That's
privilege
fine,
that's
but if you're
making people
losing it-
need to find bigger, more meaning in the things. They feel like we have all this privilege, so we have to assign meaning to everything.
Yeah.
Some of y'all need to stop appropriating my privilege here.
Wait,
But
there
there's
something-
nothing wrong with that necessarily.
So
what's wrong
this
with
is
that?
this is my issue with it, where the reason I learned this back, it was right outside of high school. I went to the Bahamas and we took a tour of the island, and the person we went with, it was kind of fishy anyway. We really shouldn't have done it, but I don't care. I like visiting the hoods of like other countries and stuff. Bro, you see out here that there's a lot of people outside in the world that don't even have plumbing. They literally have a hole where they literally just put dumps into and use leaves to wipe their butts, and they don't have a lot of things going for them. They're living in fear, and it's very dangerous where they're at. And the way I look at it, that impacted my life a lot, because I was looking, I was like, dang, bro, even in some of the worst spots in America, it's not even like this. Even if you go to DR and Puerto Rico as well, it's the same thing. So in my head, I'm like, why do people, especially in Western society, have spent so much time complaining about things and complicating things that don't need to be complicated, when if we really dial back and understand, like, we have it good compared to a lot of other people.
Too good.
Oh, I
bro.
agree.
Okay,
to that.
but I think
Too
that's the
good.
well. Okay, you're saying something totally true, but you're conflating like what we're talking about. Like we're not dismissing.
No, this is
the
my
people-
topic. I brought up my topic, so I don't know what y'all was. This is
No,
my
but, like,
I was
topic.
like, fuck this.
You and
Rosie.
Dame were saying so, and this is what I'm hearing. So if I'm wrong, correct me. Y'all are saying that we are privileged and we're looking at other countries that are poor. Yeah, I know. I grew up in a trailer park. I know what shitty is, and I know my family lives in Vietnam. It's quite shitty. They still poop in the ground. But that doesn't. I don't have their. I'm not looking at their blueprint because we don't have the same things in life. We don't want the same things in life. So why would I take their experience and say, you know what? I'm going to limit my opportunities because of look at how my family is living in Vietnam.
That's not
They're
what
fine
Doug's saying,
with
though.
that.
Nah,
Yeah, I
nobody's
don't
saying-
think I don't think
pro
he's saying
bono
that.
lawyer. I want them to correct me pro bono. I want them to check me because they're
I
the
was
one who
waiting.
said
I
it.
was waiting for you to finish. That was exactly what I was going
My
to say.
bad. That's
actually.
that Jersey
Correct me.
instinct in me. My
So
bad.
no, because I know you don't like people interrupting you, so I was going to let you
Oh,
finish.
no. I was talking. Well, Great Pill interrupted me, so that's
My
why I was
bad,
saying.
Doug. I'm still learning. I just put up my hands now.
Yeah, New Jerseyans, we just like we can have a conversation. You interrupt me. All right, cool. Say that, and then let me go real quick. I got you. I feel you. But go ahead, Angela.
I
She
mean,
got interrupted already. So listen.
see
So
that? You see y'all see
So-
this, right?
So the whole thing, the thing that I'm saying, it's not about like limiting your opportunity. I think you could always have understanding with people, understand people's avenues and everything, but also to dial back and appreciate like what you have. And maybe I don't have to focus on this thing or give as much care about something as much as I am doing right now, as much as other people do. For example, there could be a lot of the times we're looking at building a crib or building or fixing a room and everything, and we're kind of overcomplicating things with the way that's supposed to be done. Another person comes around who's like, yo, all you got to do is put this here, put this there, put this here, and then bada bing, bada boom. You're overthinking, right? I think a lot of times, especially in life, a lot of people are looking at this product in this box of life that we need to put all these pieces together, and they need to dial back and be like, yo, there's a lot of simple answers here that we could just plug and play, and we just got to connect those
Sure.
dots real quick.
So fine, I'll use your example then. Okay, my family does construction and all that shit. So for them, they're barbaric in ways that they know. They only use what they've known for years. Now I'm a nosy brat. I like to look at technology. I like to look at new shit that comes out. So I go with my family to go to Home Depot and shit. Then I'm like, wait, what's this? Why can't we try? They're like, oh, we buy what we know. We do what we do. We don't change. I'm like, but this could make things a little bit easier. Why not? No. I'm like, okay, fine. I let them do what they do. Their life is a bit hard. What I do, go behind their back, buy the shit that I know will work because I'm a sick fuck. What I do, implement it while they're doing the sandpaper shit because they want to do it by hand. And I'm like, no, guys, let's use this. This is an example from like 3-4 years ago.
Mhm.
What I'm saying is like you're saying, oh, you're
Don't interrupt her. Okay.
You're
froze for a
saying
minute.
Great Pill. I swear to God. I
No,
swear
you
to God.
froze for a minute. You froze for a minute.
God. It's like I'm gonna start speaking Vietnamese to you at this point.
Really?
When we say that we're complicating things when things are so simple, you can be simple like blue collar worker. They work, some blue collar workers. I'm not gonna do this thing where people go to a whole debate. You can work and you can do repetition. You make money, but you also don't grow beyond that unless you decide you want to open your own business. But you're also not taught that. So I'm saying, are we complicating this? Sure, but we want other opportunities. So if I decide to buy a new tool that helps their life, they don't want to, but they use it, they like it, they love it. Okay, shit, it was a little complicated to put the shit together, but it made their life easier. So a little bit of friction and opportunities. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Maybe it
the-
worked
the-
exactly as they wanted it to.
The thing you're confusing like being open to change and like complexity. I think it's fine for people to be open to change, but also be simple as well. I'm not negating the fact I'm not negating for people to have the open-mindedness to change and to improve, especially if technology or better ways come across itself, for sure. I think that's important as well. But also to dial back and remember and to analyze that, you know, there are some simple things. There are simple things that are, even though it's simple, a lot of times it is the right answer. But every scenario is different. I just think more and more people need to understand that. And
Yeah, well, I'm not taking away from that. Of course, there are some things that should just be simple and some things that we should be open to. Riddell, you had
Exactly.
something to say?
Yeah, I will say, like, I kind of agree with you, Dub, that people take certain things.
nah, you're a Mars minion, bro. I don't want to talk to you. It's like, nah.
Mars minion. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, go ahead,
That's
go ahead.
crazy. But I agree with you in the sense that Americans definitely take a lot of the things that they have for privilege and a lot of the issues that they focus on, specifically a lot of social issues, shouldn't be that relevant. I think they should reroute the complexities that they're trying to find solutions for to other things, like you were mentioning. Obviously, we have a lot of things that we could talk about in terms of our housing issue that's going on right now, and considering our border issue that's going on right now, healthcare issue that's going on right now. So there are things that we can reroute to that are complex things, but should be more primary focuses.
Yes.
So I agree to that. But a lot of those things that I just mentioned, there's no simple solution for any
Oh
of
yeah.
them.
Yeah.
So that's my bad, right? You're right in that. And when I did bring up complex is more like putting too much thought into something that doesn't necessarily need as much thought into it. And like you
Yeah.
said, a change in the priorities, because the priorities are fucked because of how complex we're trying to some people try to make things like, oh yeah, the way I feel is more important than what our solution about how we're going to fix like housing issues and people living on the streets and homeless people and things like that, right?
Yeah, I think it was Ricky Gervais said it. He was like, it's a crazy world where your feelings should hold equal weight to my facts when it comes to like your feelings. My feelings are the real is not the same as your fact. Your fact should trump my feelings in most areas of interaction. The facts should outweigh feelings in a lot of things, and I think we try to attach a feeling to everything, even facts, which is I think is crazy.
The phrase "your facts" is a problem in and of itself, right? I mean,
yeah, because a lot of people
if I
say
have my facts and they're not your facts, there's a good chance they're not facts at all. They're just feelings.
facts are facts. No, I'm talking about 1 + 1 is 2. That's your fact, and that's my fact.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's some facts that are just facts. Everything else related to your experience.
I agree with you.
Your reality is different than
semantics.
Yeah, your reality is different than your facts.
Yeah.
Okay then.
Your
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah. The only thing I have to add on that, Isaac, yes, there are things that we can simplify because it's not that complicated. But again, I think there is a lot of complexities in life, and there is no one answer for all. I think what works for the majority will ruin the minority. So it's like you can't really find an answer that would make everyone happy. So it's just up to like how you want to address, depending on what the topic is about. So we're talking about housing. and shit
Couldn't we
like that.
simplify all of our partners' emotions by dismissing them all immediately?
That's
So,
true.
and I think that's what I'm saying. Bring it back to
Mhm.
relationships. It's simple. If you take your own self-interest out of your relation, if you put the other person's perspective in mind and take your own self-interest out of it, you would be a lot happier. Your relationship would be a lot stronger. That's simple.
Sounds
Wait.
simple.
Wait. Rephrase that last 5 seconds you just said. Say that one.
I said, if you took the other person's perspective consideration and didn't focus on your own self-interest, your relationship would be a lot better. It'd be easier to communicate, which would lead to a better relationship.
That's a bar right there. And that's the issue I have, because people be so self-infatuated and so stuck on their own point of view, and they just can't sit here and just analyze things from other people. Like for
The
me,
need to be right.
yeah, a need to be right. For me, for example, listen, I have a crazy like variety of friends. Like it doesn't make sense. Like I just get along with everybody. And the main reason for that is because I just think about things from like, I just don't think about it from my eyes. If somebody's telling me something that they've been through, a struggle that they go through, no matter what it is, I'm being like, okay, I'm gonna listen to you. I'm gonna hear you out. They tell me why they feel like this. Be like, oh shoot, that's crazy. That's wild. And I understand and resonate with that. But I'm not sitting here being like, oh, you're this certain way. You're not supposed to be this way. And this is that because of my own perspective, right? It's all about understanding. And a lot of people, like, they don't listen to understand. They just listen to be nosy. And then they just have their own little points of views of things, and they're just not willing to just hear people out.
You're not hearing them, bro. You're not hearing them.
You're not hearing me. You're not hearing me. Bro, Ticket. I love, and that's the thing. Ticket's a great example. Ticket is a phenomenal person. I need people to understand that. People don't understand. He is a really, really good person. People just don't understand him. They don't understand his antics because he's wild. He curses a lot. He bashes on people. But a lot of times when Ticket be bashing people, it's really just out of like,
who's Ticket?
A dude on our basketball platform. He's a crazy dude, curses everyone out, cursed me out. I've cursed him out as well. But that's like his way of like bonding with people, right? That's how he bonds. He fucks with the people that he's with, and that's how he does things, right? Me being me, I understand. I've seen people like that, so I understand that. But people, especially when he first got on the show, they couldn't understand that was just who he is, and it's nothing personal. That's just who he is as a person. And I rock with a guy like that. When you really get to know him, bro, he looks out for a lot of people. He got a lot of love he has with him, man. He's one of those dudes that will always be on your corner.
I get it. That's like a mentor of mine back in the day when me and my first marriage didn't work out, and I was like on the low bar of the totem pole, and he just happened to be there, and he reached out. Then from there, he was just like straight asshole. But every time something happened, he was there. Every time, like if I needed some like reinforcement, conversation, or encouragement, he was there. He was literally that dude. Some stuff like in my younger days, I would just never agree with him. He'll just like give me a suggestion, right? Like, do this, ABC. And I'm like, nah, man, she ain't listening to it. He's like, just do exactly like I say and see what happens. I go do it, come back out, my face to drunk. Like, he don't even say nothing, he only throw it in my face. But the asshole part, let's say if we going out, he know I don't have the money. We just like, hey man, you want something to eat? Sure, okay. Go to the bank, print out it. Like, hey, you wish you had something like this, don't you? You're wishing. I'm like, what the hell is this? I just had like 80 hours of work thanks to you. Now you just showing me the receipt of what you got, and he just do dumb stuff like that. But yeah, you have those type of people like that.
I think that that's why, like I think you missed this beginning of the conversation. I was saying, yeah, we can have these type of dynamics with people, but sometimes we don't add in more factors that could probably improve the relationship because it's normalized to just kind of like, yo, that's just how someone so is because you're fine with it, they're fine with it. But like I use the example when I joined that other server where they're used to just being assholes on that server. And I kind of took like some free trials, be like, you know what, I'll allow a little disrespect just to kind of like build that relationship because they're ready for me to fire back. I didn't fire back because I was able to kind of build a relationship with people in that space. They're like, okay, there's a chick in this space. And I was like, if you want it to be a sausage fest, let me know, I'll just leave. But if you want me here, then we can get along with each other and I can respect and you can respect me. But if you want to be in troll mode, then I can be in troll mode. You give me what you want and I'll reciprocate that shit. But we have to talk about this because there's a dynamic. There's a man and a woman. So I think that when, for example, your example of the one guy who spazzes out and says crazy shit, if we normalize it, that's fine if he can compartmentalize it. But if he has a duality, we could also tap into like, all right, buddy, right now there's a chick here, not here. Unless she says she's cool with it. Because when you take that personality, normalize it, and he gets into a relationship with God knows who, yo, this is how it is. My homeboys treat me this way. Everyone says it's all right. Don't you think that's an issue?
Yeah.
So, don't you think that's well? You can always. We've had multiple conversations with him about this. People are gonna do. We talked about it last night. People are gonna do whatever they want, right? And I'm his friend because I genuinely like that person, right? And I'm not. Part of friendships for me is like I could definitely voice my opinions on what I agree or disagree with them, but at the end of the day, I'm accepting that person for who they are, especially with their flaws, right?
So if your friend's like obese and it's hurting their health, and you're just gonna accept it because you like their personality, is that okay?
I could tell them all the time, yo, bro, you need to work out. And I've literally called my friends fat as hell.
Yeah, man, we do that.
Yeah,
We say you fat,
and I
your
say,
fat
dude,
ass.
he needs to hit the gym. If he don't hit the gym, I'm not gonna not talk to him anymore because he's not hitting the gym.
But, yeah,
That's still
but-
my guy. Let's still go out.
Un momento. I was saying if it affects their health, that means that while they're rather huffing and puffing, they're playing video, they're running up, they can't even do a fucking layup, and you're like, oh man, like you good, bro? You
Yes,
good?
I know. I trust me. I've been around people like that.
So you would enable somebody's personality and their health just because you love them. Is that not equivalent to crippling somebody?
That's not
just
enabling.
because-
If we all told him fat ass.
Yes, it's not enabling if I'm telling him you're fat. If I'm telling you need to work out. If you're not making that decision, I have no control over you. You're still my friend. I'm gonna still be around you. I'm gonna still fuck with you. But you know that I've been telling you all the time that you.
And the difference is,
Yeah,
a man,
yeah.
he probably won't let another guy don't have love for him call him a fat ass without saying something. We will protect them because they're not doing a place of love. They're coming from a place of ridicule. But I can say, like, you know, like my homeboys are like, you fucking up. You've been a dumbass. If you can't tell the person that you rocking with, you being a dumbass, you ain't got a real relation. You have a real friendship.
Fact.
For example,
Right.
there was a scenario where, no, not me, but it was my friend dealing with it mainly because he was closer to him, but I was close to him as well. There was a friend of ours that, you know, he was getting addicted to, you know, crack and everything, right? So, I mean, they tried, you know, they tried their hardest. They tried to give him, you know, outlets, talk to him and everything, have multiple conversations, right? And they didn't disconnect from him because he continued to do that, right? If there was a disconnect, it's from the other side, but they still was still being there for him, and they did everything they could to possibly send him out on the right path. But the dude fucking OD'd and everything got found on the street. That's not enabling when you constantly tell somebody that they're doing something.
Okay, so we all know the definition of insanity is doing the same shit over and over, expecting different results. So let's say that you're expanding what you think to the fullest potential of being a great parent, great friend. You're like, this is all I got. I'm giving you my all. I did what I could. But just because you did what you could doesn't mean that was the right way. So when we say like I've done everything, you probably tried everything, just like a parent probably tried to be the best parent. But if they've never had emotional like intelligence, they can't give you what they don't have. So when you're saying like somebody OD'd, I'm not saying it's your fault. I'm not saying you probably could have changed, but I'm saying like if somebody has health issues and they're your friend, they probably have poor habits that come with it. And you're saying like, hey, no big deal. That's still my homie. I like him for even his flaws, but it is affecting the friendship. I'm not going to enable him, but I'm going to tell him he's a fat ass. Is there not a root to why he's a fat ass and it's affecting his health? And you're just saying like, it is what it is. I told him to toughen up, and it is what it is. Like,
but nobody's saying that. I said that I've acknowledged that, yo, they're doing this wrong. I tell them that, yo, you got to fix up your habits. You got to fix up your eating habits. You got to do this and you got to do that. If they don't, people are going to do what they want at the end of the day. I use myself as an example with my parents. They told me the right things to do for my whole entire life.
You missed this. Just you were gone. Riddell, you were here when I addressed this, right? That if somebody tells you to man up, but they themselves are not a man, there is no model to lead after. So you could say, be a good child, be a doctor, go be a doctor. Meanwhile, your parents have never been this. You're like, yeah, okay, I hear you, but I don't see you. I don't know what to model. There's nothing to go by. So you could hear what you need to do, but you don't know how.
I've had models though. I've had people model. I had people throughout my whole entire life to be good models to me. At the end of the day, I still did whatever I wanted to do because that's just what I choose. People have free will. They choose what they want to do. It is what it is. Now, at the end of the day, is like I'm bringing the Bible in this. Like God puts the paths in your way to overcome whatever struggles you're going with.
Oh my God!
But people
so much sense. You're religious.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter.
Hold on.
This is just life in general, though. There's no way you can have control over people. So let's say, Angela, you do every single thing possible to sit here and help a person. They still don't react. What's the solution? I cut the person off, and then I ruined the friend. I just cut the friendship right off completely. You think that's beneficial to them? If I just cut them off?
Never said that.
Okay, so then what do I do if everything that I'm thinking is supposed to help them, I'm being emotionally supportive, I'm being there for them, I'm telling them about their habits, I'm telling them because I have done this before, I'm telling them that they need to lose weight and they're still not reacting. What do I do then?
Right. So let me expand on this. So I'm saying, like, when we talk about these things sound complex. We don't want it because we only want to do what we want to do, what we only know how to do. Now, I'm not saying it's your job or your responsibility, but if you love someone, it is your job to go beyond what you probably even know. It's not my job to have different groups of friends and be in different spaces. I enjoy seeing if people can change and conform and be better. I enjoy doing that. Is it my job? No, I just find it cool to see that shit. I go out of my way to learn what I could change, to see if this is like, how can I provoke you to kind of like, all right, this is what I've done. It's not working. This chick is questioning it, but she's coming from a good faith, coming from a good place. Maybe I should change. Maybe this isn't the right way to do things. I'm not saying it's your job, but if you want to, you could. There always is another answer. It doesn't mean you actually know how to do it.
But then you're eliminating the fact that somebody just doesn't want to change at all.
No, people, no, who doesn't want better? Everybody wants improvement. That's why we get new phones.
I
new
promise
cars,
you,
new
there's a
stuff.
lot of people that is fine with the eating food
Yeah.
all day. There's people that fine
No.
with just being on a computer all day and just playing
Yes.
games and
Because
beating their dicks.
people-
There are
yeah.
a lot of people that just
Yeah.
enjoy doing that.
Yeah, no, people enjoy it because that's the best it gets for them. But if you offer someone something better, you're telling me someone won't take it. Like you're the one who says that men would cheat if they had the option. So why would they just be okay with one chick and still cheat? In that case, with that same example, why do you have to cheat then?
No, because of temptation. That's a whole different thing about temptation coming
No, but
into
it's
form.
better. It's temptation is better.
Short
because
and
it's-
long-term payoffs. It's the duration of the reward.
Because people know, especially losing weight and not being a crackhead anymore, people even in that instance know that what they're doing is harmful for their health. They know they shouldn't be doing that, but they are still committing that action because at the end of the day, there are just some people addicted to flaws. There's people addicted to living that way. There's people addicted to
They're-
being in that trauma. There's
they're
people really addicted to that.
way because they don't have a better option. They, like, for example, if someone gives you a better option, but no. See, this is crazy. Like, I think it's crazy that we can at least concede to the idea that just because you offer someone, like, to you, if my parents show me love, they're giving me love, but it's hard fucking rash. Like, they
Can I ask a question? I'll wait.
Hold on, free
I'll
pill, brother. Jesus effing Christ. If you show somebody what you only know, you think it's great for you, but it doesn't necessarily mean that different strokes for different folks. I'm sure we all heard of that shit. So just because it works for you doesn't mean it works for them. So you could mean well, but it may not hit them the way it hits you. So just because you're saying that these people won't hit, they can't see that this is better for them, but they need to know that, all right, well, at one point do you say something that actually triggers them to be like, oh wow, you mean well. This is an easy transition. People don't change because they're scared of change. But if the change is beneficial and it's better, they're always going to take
People
it.
don't change because they're comfortable. People are addicted to comfort. And if they're doing things that are making them comfortable, even though that the option to go on the right path is the correct path, they're addicted to their comfort. So they choose to stay in that. That's just what people don't. I'm be honest with you. People do not like working out. They hate it. They don't. But they do it because it's beneficial to their health. But then there's a lot of people that's just addicted with just staying home and being comfortable.
Because that's their only option. So you're exposed. If you're incentivized to do something,
it's
you
not
mean
their
to
only option to just stay at home or go to the gym.
No. If you're a fat ass and you're like, I'm just comfortable, like, hey, guess what? You get this hot girlfriend in this new fucking car. If you go to the fucking gym, you mean to tell me they wouldn't take that option, even if they're comfortable? People are comfortable because that's the limited options around them.
But the rewards aren't guaranteed.
I've seen people, and this is what happens. They get motivated off of an instance due to whatever. They continue that motivation for maybe a month or 2 months. Because I know people that are bodybuilders, they're personal trainers as well. And guess what happens? For whatever reason, they're motivated. And guess what happens? They go back to their comfort. It's just people are addicted to their comfort. And even though they see the promised land waiting for them, they're like, nah, that's a little bit too much effort. Let me go back to what I was doing before.
We ignore the fact that sometimes the things that look like bad or comfortable decisions are actually the best thing they've got going for them, and in the moment is a rational decision. There are people out there who what they have going for them in their life is a drug habit.
Yes. I know.
Yeah,
I've seen plenty of drug addicts. They would tell me to my face, I don't want to do this. I know this is terrible. I hate the fact that I can't even be around my fucking kids because of this nonsense. But I am stuck though. I am addicted to this shit. And it's not the fact that they don't know that there's a better light to go to, but they're stuck in that addiction.
Yeah. Okay.
There might not be a better life there. That's what I'm saying. There might not be a better. Some people have such a shitty life that is the thing that gets them through the day.
There are people like and I agree with, there are some people like that, but then there's also a large portion of people as well that can't sit here and make something out of themselves, but there has been people getting jobs and actually doing well, and then they went back to it. And it's because and it's sad. It breaks my heart every.
And I think that there's more.
Shit.
I think there's more like what you're describing than what I'm describing.
Riddell, go ahead.
So, like, I kind of agree with what both you and Dub and Angie are saying, because I do think there is a percentage of people that will relapse every single time. But I also think that there is a good number under the right method could get out of the situation that they're in. Right. So, for example, not to use your example, let's throw a hypothetical out. If there's a guy who's obviously overweight to the detriment of his health, that I mean, he may have a stroke in a couple of years, maybe potentially. Right. So, telling him to do it all the time, maybe that's just not good enough. So, it's like, hey, man, I'm going to your house. We're going to the gym. Let's go. Come on. We're going to the gym. I'm dragging you to the gym right now. And that could be a good solution for this particular person. But
Temporary solution.
If you were
it wouldn't be a temporary solution, because when it comes to working out, for some people, like I said, it depends on the person. Once you start working out, it can create a habit, because a lot of when it comes to going to the gym and going working out, for people who like go consistently, at first a lot of them don't want to, but once they get that habit into their routine, then it becomes normal. It just becomes a normal thing that they do consistently. So my thing is, when it comes down to it, and this kind of goes to our bigger conversation that we had with Tyson, is yes, there will be those individuals out there that no matter what you do, what you say, they won't get better. But I feel like you have to consistently try the best options beyond what you know, if based on the scenario, to try to give them a method, because I think the chances are that there is a method for the person on average. And there is a method out there, so you have to make that concerted effort to find that method for them, especially if you love them as an individual.
And that's where
they have to find it for themselves. You can't find it for them. They have to find it for them and develop it for themselves. It can stick. That's when it sticks. When it's from internal. Internal.
I agree.
That's
It has
when
to
it
be
sticks.
internal.
You can
but
express all kinds of stuff. So you can put 1,000 different options that are better than where they are now. But if they're not feeling it from it, one of them doesn't appeal to them, or they don't feel it inside, it means nothing.
I agree. That's why I said there will be people who will relapse, but that same individual, the different individual who won't relapse, there's a perfect solution out there. If they don't know what that solution is, and if nobody tells them or nobody kind of guides them that way, they're not going to find it on their own. And so again, they need that external.
You being convinced doesn't create a commitment from them. And you can be as convinced as you want, but it will not generate commitment from them. Commitment is internal. They have to be convinced and committed.
We're done. Let me ask you.
They have to be convinced and committed, but if they don't know it, then they can't be convinced.
Riddell, let me ask you this: have you ever met somebody?
I've been saying.
Riddell, have you ever met somebody? Have you ever met somebody?
When a guy says it, everybody understands. But go ahead.
I don't understand it. I have my hand up before him. So
Angela.
No,
Angela. I still
didn't respond. I had my hand up before Riddell, so I didn't agree to anything he said.
I agree. I know what both of y'all saying. I disagree still with both of y'all. Riddell, have you ever met somebody addicted to a toxic relationship?
You gotta think about it.
Yes, of course. Right? Do you have an automatic answer in your head? Of
okay,
you think about
so
it.
you've seen similar to that. There's literally people out there that's addicted to that comfort, addicted to that toxicity. And even though there's plenty of times where you would sit here and talk to that person and tell them, you shouldn't mess with this dude. You shouldn't mess with this girl. Oh, let's go out and go do this together. Let's go out and do this together. Guess what happens at 2 o'clock in the morning? Guess what happened? They hit up that phone call and they go get some dick. And they go get some pussy.
I don't know if that's addiction. That's a normal. They normalized it throughout their life.
No, that's still addiction to a toxic relationship. That's still addiction.
No, it's you can be addicted to a lot of things. Relationship is one of those things. And comfort.
Okay, Dab. Let's simplify. You like simplifying things. Let's do this. Okay, you have 2 girls. You're fucking with 2 girls right now. You always go to the toxic one. The vanilla one's very nice, but she's very fucking vanilla. You always go to the toxic one because she makes you feel some type of way. She blows you like you're fucking happy in red light district.
Sure.
You're happy, but then they're like, wait, why do you keep going back to her? Because she gives you what the other one doesn't. Like even if the other one's good, she gives you the inverse of what the other one doesn't. If that person gave you everything, why would you still go back to toxic if number one had it all?
Because I'm addicted to that negativity, negativity of lust and sex.
If the negativity was in the other one that had everything, you wouldn't go back to that one constantly. Let's say that one you kept fucking with toxic for like a week straight, and then obviously the new girl comes, she's toxic, but she's also realistic and logical. She has some sort of flux. She can fluctuate. You mean to tell me you're still gonna go back to number one toxic?
Especially if I was dealing with number one for a longer time because of that comfort. Naturally, a lot of people stick with the person that they're comfortable with. So even me and a lot of people would stay with that person. It's whoever is making them comfortable and they're addicted to that comfort.
Yeah, but I just replicated.
Toxicity.
I just replicated the entire person and added like 5 more features to them. And
yes,
you're saying you'd still go back.
And I'm telling you, there's even when you have it, I'm telling you, even when you have a new John coming around here doing that, I'm still addicted to that person because at the end of the day, we built a level of comfort with each other because of that. My point is when we reel this back in about toxic relationships and working out and everything, people are addicted to comfort. They are addicted to what makes them feel good and comfortable. And people, when you can do everything you could talk to them everything you weigh. You can sit here and show them the right ways to get out of a toxic relationship, to not be like this, to not be a cheater, to not be a fat ass, to not be an addict. But at the end of the day, people do what they want. A human being can only do what they want. The main thing I disagree with Riddell is when he said on average, there is a solution for everybody. I think everybody has a solution, but everybody has to have the willingness to go to that solution. And that's the issue.
The willingness comes from the opportunity that makes you feel comfortable. So you only feel that way when you explore that. So you keep saying that this, listen, maybe it's subjective. Maybe it's just for maybe your own anecdotal. I do believe that it's different for everybody then. So I'll leave it at that. We'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
Crazy Jacob.
Crazy Jacob. I am a crazy kid. I'm not gonna hold you.
Oh yeah, I forget your name is Jacob. I was talking about the Jacob in the chat too.
Great Pill, what's up? And then we'll wrap it up.
I got a question because you was giving a lot of back and forth with Dub, but I think he asked a question that wasn't getting an answer. You said their solution. So what's your solution to that guy or that friend that you know is overweight or on drugs or the toxic relationship? What solution will you give your friend? How would you handle that?
Who are you asking? You need to pick one, bro.
Yeah, I'm asking Angela. So how would you handle that?
Wait, what's the question? I'm sorry, I was replying to something.
How would you handle one? Have you ever handled one of your friends going through a toxic relationship?
I do this shit all day long. Yes.
And
so how would you handle it? How would you handle it?
So there's no one. So everyone's personality is different. Like you can't just have like you have to study the person you're with. Like if someone says like, you know, like how do you make your man happy? My man is different than someone else's man. There's no one answer to that. So you have to learn.
Yeah, but I'm asking generally as a friend. Like if one specific friend you could think on top of your dome in a toxic whatever relationship, how would you handle that exactly? Dub gave like a million scenarios of back and forth with almost half the panel. How would you give a great illustration of handling that?
Me, I always go to the core. I like to understand how someone was raised, their relationship with their parents, with their religion. I have to get down to the core of these things before I try to assume what works for them. Then I like to ask questions. I don't assume things. I ask. And then I'm like, okay, let's question this person and then see how they feel. From there, you kind of dig. You fucking Nancy Drew the situation. What works for me may not work for her. So I can't just answer something that simple. I do this all day long, and it's weird to even say that, but like you just ask questions.
Okay, I got you. Hold on, time. I got you. I'm on crack right now, smoking crack. I'm on drugs. Boom. How would you handle me?
Did I meet
you? I love crack. I can't get enough of it.
Did I meet you this way, or did you out of nowhere start to smoke?
You just met me. You just met me.
Okay, then I would ask you, like, hey, what the fuck's going on? Well, first off, you can't just ask me. You have to build a relationship with them to be comfortable to even talk to them about these things. People have to be comfortable talking about
this. Okay, now we're 2 years in. You know me. I'm still on crack.
Okay, well, your whole point to this is me trying to figure out why you're still on crack?
No, how do you handle the solution? That was the main question. How do you handle your friend that's on an addiction? How do you handle that? Because you telling Dub like, hey, that rainbow's on the end. They should know. I gave them the solution.
My friend, for example, if I have a friendship that's on crack, I'd have to understand. I'd want to build a relationship with them to see why their relationship with their parents. What are their day-to-days like? If you're doing crack, that means you're not doing anything productive in your life. So that means I have to understand like why are their days filled up with, I don't know, going to fucking church, having family. Where's your family? Oh, let's get some fucking therapy. Let's talk about why you feel like you have to go spend your last $20 on drugs.
I can't afford it, Angela. I've known you for 2 years.
Then I supply them a job because I have the opportunity to supply them a job. Then I find the rehabilitation. There's always an answer for people. And no matter what answer.
My bad. I need to correct this for people who do crack. A lot of them are actually in jobs. And the reason they're on the streets is because of that addiction that they got addicted to. A lot of people ruin their lives because of that.
Yeah. I mean, we can go.
So
into
they
all
didn't
pers-
start out with nothing else to do. They started out by
Yes,
with everything in their
with
hands,
the
and then they lost
pressure.
everything.
Yeah, they got to be able to afford to buy the crack.
Yeah.
There's no matter
Right.
how we reframe this, right, Paul? Like we can even go to anecdotal. I have someone in my life that's like that, and I deal with this person on a daily basis, and it's my job, and not because I have to, because I want to do this shit, and there's improvements with it, but it takes time and patience, and if you want to pay it forward and you do it, and if you don't, then you're a selfish bastard and you're fine with it. It doesn't matter, but it really goes by how much you really care about them. I see improvements. Maybe this is my own anecdotal experience with everyone I deal with. I like it. Maybe 3 years ago I couldn't say this, but who I am now, I enjoy this shit. I like seeing the reciprocation and the improvement with people. Now, what works for me did not work for this person, but it takes time. I don't like burning. I smell smoke. I leave. Some people got to see the house on fire. It's up to you to learn the person. There's no simple answer to this.
I
Yeah,
do
but
agree.
wouldn't that be fair to say that again, going back to what Dub said, right? So if you saying you see smart, you smell fire is burning, so I'm a suicide. So if Dub is saying the same thing, I'm agreeing with them. If I got a friend, I'm talking to him, like I see these bad traits and habits about him, I'm speaking to him directly. I'm coming from the heart. I don't know. I'm sure Dub's the type of person. Hey, I went to months a week. I've done that with a friend. I got a big ass fat cousin. He got a little weird little socks with his leg like grandma used to have. He know he effing up. But what he's gonna do? He's still gonna go out to eat. He's gonna tell me what to do. He even make jokes. I'm fat as shit. He's gonna still eat what he want. We go to a restaurant. What type you want? Baby girl, you know how I am. Look at me, what size? He make fun of himself. So he's gonna do what he want to do. So it's just some things you just can't tell people. Like you can tell and have the conversation with people.
I don't tell people is what I'm saying. Like, for example, some people in the community that I deal with where you're like, why do you deal with this person? You've asked me. There's these people that you and I disagree on. And then I will tell you, like the one person that we disagree on, I find out she's autistic. But how did I get to that? Because I keep questioning her. I keep up with her. I check on her. We talk on the daily basis. Then I find out, oh, fuck, you've been misunderstood. That I could have easily ostracized her and said, like, you know what? I don't fuck with you. People don't fuck with you. You're a little weird. We don't understand you. But turns out she's a learning disability. She's lived her whole life. So to me, it's like, how do you handle it? You cut people off. That's fine. That's your method, but that's not my method.
I didn't say cut people. I said cut people after the fact. I didn't say cut them off. I'm saying if we're talking to them, I'm giving an example of Dub saying, hey, that's my friend. He effed up. He know he's doing something wrong. He understands it, but he's still my friend. We're still going to hang out. We're still cool. You're still like, hey, let me still beat on that person. Let me still beat on that person. Let me still beat on that person. Dub like, no, I beat it.
That could ruin a friendship too. If you keep bringing that up, actually.
I do want to ask both of you a question real quick. I do want to ask both of you a question.
Go ahead.
Sure.
So in the situation where there's a toxic relationship and obviously your first friend, you gave him all the advice and everything, and he's like, I keep on going back no matter what.
Yes.
Now you have a second you have the first friend.
I literally have a scenario like that in my head. So I'm like, yes.
So he just went back and was like, okay, I did everything I could. Now you have a second friend, brand new relationship. Now he's in a toxic relationship and it keeps on going back. Are you going to not attempt to help him? Or are you going to say, hey, man, the first one was a lost cause. He's a lost cause, too.
I got you. This happened. One happened recently with a coworker. This is recent, dude. The first one you talked about, my brother. Perfect example, my brother.
Me
this
too.
Knucklehead, this knucklehead, he was going with a girl. He was disrespecting. They both was arguing. I can say it was more him than her, but it's both of them at the end of the day, right? I get a call like, hey, bro, can you come get me? I'm like, yo, I knew the situation. I'm like, you gotta wait because where I'm at, I can't come get you right now. I go meet up with him. We finally get there, thinking by the time I get there, all his stuff gonna be packed up and we're gonna go, right? What did he do? Do the little dance and shimmy, drag stuff out, do the little drama, finally get him in the car. Like Andy said, do the talk. Let him talk for a whole hour. But again, that's my brother. I know him, but I still let him talk for a whole hour. Drive an hour talk. I said, hey, are you done? Okay, cool. Look, gave him all the solutions, gave him the answer. You still my brother. I love you. I got you. You my boy. But if you calling her a whore, you saying she's the sins of Babylon, if you're saying she's sucking so many dicks, don't go back to her now, because if you go back to her, guess what you're doing? You the whore too, you're sucking dicks, and you're the bitch too. Guess what he did the next day? Go to her house, stay up in her house, living, eating off her, using her car, everything else. Now, at that point, I'm not washing my hands from him. You're still my boy. You're still my brother. I love you. I got you. But you ever call me again for some dumb shit like that, guess what's not going to happen? I'm not going to waste my time and gas on you. It better be for something reasonable. Now, the second guy, just recently met him. He comes up, he feels like he want to talk and conversate and all this stuff. I said, okay, cool. What's on your mind? He tells me a story about a 3-year relationship he was in with a girl. The relationship was toxic as all get out. I sit there and laugh. I said, yo, you sure you done with her? He said, yeah, man, the cops called us out. I said, you sure? Because it sounded like you, in my mind, it sounded like you still going to go back. I said, are you sure? I gave him my advice. I had the conversation. We sat at my job, wasting my time.
Just sit with a motherfucker for 2 hours talking about the same shit.
At my job, wasting my time having a conversation with him, right? But I didn't get an attitude. Later on, I say, you know what? I give you 3 weeks. But I even counted one in my head. I gave him 3 weeks. He come back week 1. Come back week 2. Come back week 3. Smile on his face. Smile on his face. Hey, what's up, man? And you know, I said, you made sweet, sweet love to you, didn't it? You made sweet. Man, I went back with her. I said, yo, we good. I said, I'm not judging you. I understand the situation, but you need to understand the situation you get into. If you go back with a chick that you know is a problematic, just like my knucklehead brother was problematic, understand cops, somebody gets stabbed, somebody may get hurt, somebody might go to jail.
You can't bitch. You can't
just understand it. We're good. Just understand it. He said, okay, guess what he do now? We still have a conversation. We're still good. That's it.
So you're still making the attempt, which is the point that I've been trying to make the entire time. Is you still?
But no, but my tip is lesson. He's still like my brother. He's still my boy. I didn't cut him off. If he still calls me and talk to me, we're gonna still talk.
Have you ever had? My bad. I need to ask, have you ever had somebody? Have you ever had somebody? You having a flaw and they keep addressing and bringing up your flaw? Have you ever had somebody do that to you and kept, yo, you got to fix this?
Yeah, it's called an ex-girlfriend, and guess what happened? Yes. It's an ex-girlfriend.
You tune them out. Whenever somebody, and which is why you can't just constantly just keep attempting on people, because what's going to happen is they're going to get annoyed. They're going to get tired of hearing the same thing over and over again, or your questions, and whichever way you want to do, try to understand them. And then they're just going to be like, yo, leave me alone. And then you ruin the friendship which you have. Now I don't have any type of possibility to help that person because of me overly attempting and trying to be a good person. Don't get me wrong. I think everyone's trying to be a good person when they're trying to do that, but there's a limit. There's a limit. You don't want to hear every day somebody telling you, or somebody trying to fix this flaw of, oh yeah, I'm watching porn every day, or I'm just sitting on my ass every day. Nobody wants to hear that all the time.
No, but you're going back to what I said, like the definition of insanity is doing the same shit over and over. So just because you're doing something with good intentions doesn't mean you're doing it the right way. So just because someone does that doesn't mean like that's the way you can understand it and process it. They can mean well, but the same way where your mom nags or your sister nags or your wife nags, it's not because she wanted to nag. She drops little hints. She spoke to you in her language that she only knew. If she could speak in dude language, she probably would have done it, but she didn't know. She thought that we're kind of all the same.
And so I added the caveat though of you using different methods to try to reach that person.
Yeah, but it's not for everybody. I'm listen. I think we're trying to make this like a simple absolute. There's no absolute. Some people change, some people get dropped, but there are some people that you should at least put the effort in. The one that works for you may not work for them, and that's all I'm simply saying.
And what I'm simply saying, and this is why I say it's just you're thinking about things way too complex. What I'm saying, I'm so serious. What I'm literally saying, it's so simple. You can I'm telling you that you can sit here and be that person for somebody and talk and help people the way you're helping people now. But the simple answer on why they are not changing has nothing to do with the amount of attempts or the way that you're talking to somebody. The simple answer is a lot of times they just don't feel like changing. That's just a simple.
Fine. Okay, then
that's why I say there's sometimes the answer is just very simple.
No, okay, for some people, but can we at least agree that it's some people? Because if that were the case, then why do we have therapists?
More than average.
If your mom and dad told you that you shouldn't do,
agree to disagree on that one.
I think more than average. A lot of the times, people just don't want to change.
Yeah,
it's more than average. People just don't want to change. They're addicted to their comfort. They're addicted to this, and they're just addicted with that lifestyle. It's that, and they just don't want to change.
Okay, so your life. Let's say your lifestyle is a PS fucking I don't know 1.
I play PlayStation all day.
No.
Who said PS1 around here?
I'm trying to make this as shitty as possible. Let's go with the damn narrative, okay? That's the narrative. Shitty futon, homeboys, and some cold ass fries. You're comfortable in that shit. You're telling me that if I offer you something better, you would not take it because you're comfortable, is what you're saying.
Yes, a lot of people do that. Yes.
And
Bro.
what you think is
100%.
better,
No,
what you think is better might not always be better. Like you can say that sobriety is better, but have you tried heroin? I
Wait,
mean, you know, like you.
you guys are purposely not engaging with this right now. Have I
No,
already?
he's
absolutely
honest.
engaging it.
No, I'm
Be
honest
honest.
with you. I'm honest
Yeah.
with you. I like this is the thing, Angela.
No.
I've talked
It's-
to people. I've literally done
It's-
this. I've been through this road time and time again with people. With my friend, even in a toxic relationship, trying to hook him up with a good ass girl too. At the end of the day, people are just stuck, and they get stuck in their comfort. They get stuck in, and they just get stuck in
I
what
think the
makes them feel
mistake is
good.
thinking that you know what it would make their life better.
Of
Boom.
course.
A
Yes.
lot
but-
of people,
baby.
a lot of
Boom.
people like their life better doing shit that you don't like or approve of.
Eating
Okay,
burgers
but
and fries
I
every
do-
single day.
I think the proper I think the word me and Angela are just like disconnecting from y'all.
Thank you.
I'm
I'm
you guys
sitting
say
next to
the
Riddell. Fuck that.
Burrito.
Hey, I can't believe you
Burrito.
did that to me.
when you
See,
guys
every time when I come around here,
wait,
all
did you
of
call me a
Angela's friends
beta?
become
Wait, no,
mine.
I'm not.
No,
a beta.
she's
Relax,
coming over
relax
here
there.
to the front.
Relax there. I am not a beta. Let's not start that. All right.
It doesn't matter. I'm gonna go
I
back
just
to
had to address
using
that real
because of
quick.
this
I
shit.
just
If
had to
you
address
just
that
tried
real
harder, I'd be sober still.
Anyway, so I think the disconnect here is for me, and it seems for Angela as well, is the word a lot, is the word most. It's like it's a percentage, bro. Like that's why I don't agree with Dub saying more than average. I don't agree with a lot of people think that their terrible situations is better for them. I don't agree with that. I think it's a small number of people. I think it's I think it's a minority population that are on these no lost cause situations.
All right, Riddell, let me ask you something, right? I'm gonna get nasty. Are you in shape?
Not peak, unfortunately.
You're not, but are you in shape at all? Are you in peak conditioning? Is your diet 100% great?
Oh, it's good. It's average. Average. I'll give you average.
It's average. Okay, let me ask you, why aren't you doing more to put your body in shape to what it needs to be?
Why am I not doing more? Because I gotta get a car. That's why.
You could. I know somebody that worked 2 jobs and was still working out in bodybuilding. So why? Again, I'm gonna ask you a question. Why? There's more to it than that.
Wait.
Car in the
No,
gym is very
no,
far.
let them have this. Let them have
No,
this.
Yeah.
Oh no. Again, you could take if you really want to change and you really want at this better scenario. Again, let me ask you: did you move him to the back room? That's disgusting.
That's
That's actually disgusting that you did that. But again, let me ask you: why aren't you
Right.
making more of an effort to put yourself in shape where you need to be?
All right, let's get into specifics now. when
And
it
let me
comes
ask
to
you:
the-
how long have you been out of shape?
Since I moved to
Yes.
Ohio. Before that, I was in the gym every day. So
How
that's when
long
I
ago
moved
was
here.
that? How long ago was that?
5 months ago.
5 months ago.
Yeah, I moved. here.
I think I've known you for longer than 5 months, and I'm pretty sure it's been the same body type for around roughly.
You
the same
must.
time.
Hey, I'll tell you what my lifting was. That was different though. Body type a little different, but relatively the same. But lifting, we can talk about that. But I see what you're saying. Now, in terms of specifics, for me, what I value most is my time. Right. The reason why going to the gym is such a time waster is because of how far away it is from me in terms of proximity. Now, I do stuff to keep myself in shape based off my time constraints, because obviously I work at home. I do a lot of things for my podcast that takes up a lot of my time. And of course, I do other things that are around the house, of course, as well. So going to the gym and being in shape is important, but based off its value and based on how much things that are more important, the value of wasting 2 hours to go to the gym and back is just not worth it.
Why don't you just do workouts at home? There's tons of cardio workouts that could do at home.
Because
I'm being a friend for you. I'm being a friend for you, Riddell. Let's do this.
Yeah,
You can do
right.
cardio workouts at home. You can sit here and do up downs. You can sit here and do 10
Right.
downs. You do a lot of things to put yourself in shape. So again, why aren't you doing that now? And I'm giving
Let's
you
do
the
some
option.
right now.
Because-
We can do
no,
some
this
right
is-
now.
This is important because the value of the situation, I'm not in desperate need to be in the best health of my life. What I am in desperate need of is obviously something related to my podcast. So if I wasn't doing my necessary things regarding my podcast, my political podcast
But
is very important.
That's your judgment. The rest of us think that your life would be way better if you got in shape.
Exactly.
the whole okay, now we're being disingenuous.
Wow.
No, we're
The
not.
whole
Wow.
His
situation.
close friend is telling him. This is close friend.
Body shame.
His close friend is telling him about his health.
Gray pill.
His
Stop,
health
okay,
risk.
stop.
I don't
Now
want you
we're
to
being
get fat. I don't want you to get caught up in
No, 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 no,
laziness,
no. Now
Riddell.
we're being
And I
disingenuous.
don't want you to get caught
We're
up in that
worried
shit.
about you,
You need
man.
to,
All right, let
you
me-
need to do this now so that you don't get fat later
Listen,
on. I
listen,
need
I'll
you to do
some
this,
stand-up
brother.
with you. Let's go.
No. Stop. We're being disingenuous.
Yes, we are.
Angela's analogy from the start was a obese person that was on the verge of potentially dying from a heart attack.
Which was the
I
extreme.
am not in that situation. What are we talking about?
And that's not
That is
all.
a
That's not the whole
terrible
analogy.
Wait. So if we're talking about what's morally correct, then Dub, why are you in hookup culture? Why are you sleeping with girls? Why
Because
can't
I'm
you
a piece
sleep
of
with
shit.
Okay,
And I will
but-
own up to
okay,
it. I will
okay,
own up to the I will own up
no.
to the fact that I'm addicted to that lust, that I'm addicted to that comfort. I will be honest with myself and honest with people that that's what I do.
Okay,
It's
but
not.
what-
It's simple.
Wait,
It's simple.
was Riddell not being honest? Was Riddell not saying
Riddell
like,
was
hey,
being honest, and all I have to say is, Riddell, in all honesty, you just being lazy because you could just sit here and do workouts at home. You just
Yep.
don't feel like putting in the
Look,
extra time.
Yep.
That's all I
analogy-
have to
Which
say.
you made that
fantastic.
choice. You made that choice, and those excuses you was giving Dub. Let's keep it 100. You was
Right,
making
So you're
excuses.
comparing
Okay.
something.
The-
I'm
the
in
analogy
average
is
health. You're
perfect.
comparing that
The-
to be in a toxic
Because
relationship.
that's like me
The
saying
analogy is
that's like me
perfect.
saying
Are we
this.
serious?
That's like me saying this. I haven't found the one. All right, watch this, Angela. I'm gonna give you an excuse. I haven't found a woman for me that meets my needs, so I'm gonna sit here and keep doing what I have to be doing.
I believe that.
Okay,
I mean,
so
Dub,
it's still
if you're
piece
in
of shit behavior, even though I'm justifying it just because I'm justifying that I haven't found the right one yet. It's still
But
you
no.
still shouldn't be doing that shit.
Yeah,
just because
but
you're in
wait.
a lost cause situation. Oh yeah, go ahead, Angela.
No, okay. So what? I don't understand what point you're trying to make, Dub. Like you're playing this
Bruh.
extreme example.
I got you. Riddell said it's too much. He has is not enough time on his hands because it's 2 hours away from him and he's doing a lot of things. What I'm saying is, all right, the reason I'm in hookup culture because I haven't met the woman that found that has met the criterias and standards that I have for my life. So until I meet that person, I'm still going to live this way.
Okay, fine. So if a guy is extremely fit and he's healthy, but he has to do drugs to be fit, he looks physically healthy, but he's harming him. You're saying that he should still do it? Because
Wait.
we're saying, wait,
Yes,
because
sir.
at this point we're talking about what's detrimental. Like if Riddell's saying, hey, it would be
It's-
detrimental to my fucking mental health if I added in 2 extra hours. When hey, I have all
It's-
this. Because remember, we're talking about mental health in general. And mental health
Why you
means that
putting
hey,
words
to
in his
sacrifice.
mouth though?
No. This whole
It's
this whole
subjective.
thing.
Beta!
Subjective, but the principles are exactly the same. The
Y'all
principle is
are
exactly the
wild.
same.
You guys are
No,
wild.
let me go. The principle is exactly the same. Where the three of us decided that what is best for his situation was detrimental for him. He didn't decide it. He
But
doesn't.
The same reason you
And
gave,
Dawn,
Angela. That's what
this
we
is-
doing.
And my bad. Dawn in the
This
chat.
is a
Dawn in the
terrible
chat.
analogy.
I gave him solutions to working out from home so he don't have to do 2 hours. It's called up downs. It's called 10 downs.
Yeah,
You can sit here and do
that's fine,
cardio
that's fine,
workouts
that's
at
fine,
home.
that's fine.
I've given him solutions. He's still not taking it because at the end of the day, like y'all told, because at the end of the day, he just doesn't feel like it. But my
No,
bad.
no,
I just need to do a
Dub,
better.
you're not
no, no.
hearing me. You
In
didn't
y'all
hear what
words,
I said.
in y'all words,
Listen.
I just need to do a better job. I just need to do a better job of trying to reach out to you guys.
No,
and
Dub, you need to
really
talk to the
understand-
family.
I need to understand why. Riddell, I really need to.
Dub, you talk
I
to
need
the
to,
family.
I need to be in depth into why, Riddell. Why don't you work out, man? You have the time to do
okay,
it, bro.
apparently
You can
you're
really
listening.
do this,
No,
man.
no, no,
Get
no,
your
That's not
notes
really a
out.
good
Talk to the
excuse.
family.
Come on,
All right,
bro.
let's.
This
Dub,
is the
Dub.
issue. Like
Wait,
this.
I do want to address something, Dub, real quick, bro. I literally said that I was doing stuff at home. I already said that.
You're not
The
doing
point
stuff at
of-
home looking like that.
The point of prime condition, the point of prime condition
I'm
is
sorry.
different. But the whole point of the conversation is value. The value of your life being threatened by being morbidly obese should be the first thing on your mind so you can live another day. The value of me being in expert condition is not nearly as important.
God.
Riddell,
So this
can I ask
is
a question?
And
disingenuous
again,
discussion.
Riddell,
What are you
there's
talking about?
I've been in a scenario where there has been a literal crackhead with his life on the fucking line. And in every single avenue, you talking about therapists, you talk about rehabilitation centers, you talking about spending hours and hours talking to them. It did not fucking work. So are you gonna sit here and try to tell me and try to tell those people that was helping him that at the end of the day, they just did not come up with the right solution for that person?
No, because
Or
I
is
said
that
there's
person
lost
just kept
cause
making that
scenarios.
decision?
Me and Angela both said that there are situations. that
No,
some
she's
people
more on
are-
that. No. She's more on that. Keep going at him. Keep talking to him. Keep
No,
going at him. Keep going at him.
no.
All right.
Angela's right here, Grey Pill. You can ask me. First off, I said there was. I said.
Oh, I'm
that
looking at
different-
you.
I said different strokes for different folks. So I said there are some people where you can try. There's reasons why we have to drop some people. There's a reason why therapists said, well, I'm not going to work with you because you're not receiving the information. But there are some people where like your parents can tell you, you can't do this, you shouldn't do this. They don't receive it the way their parents are telling them. But you give them to a fucking therapist, all of a sudden they are, oh, I'm improving in life. Some people think therapists is stupid, but it works for other people. So again, we're going in circles with this conversation. Well, what works for Dub? Dub likes that shit, just black and white
No, I
bullet
don't-
points. Simple, but for some people that may not actually work.
I don't get it.
But
Going
again,
circles.
I'm not telling you the scenarios and the solutions which they made. I'm
Yeah.
telling you that even when somebody is trying to be as broad as you are and trying to reach them in multiple avenues and multiple methods, it still doesn't work. There's a lot of people I know
No.
that try every single thing. It doesn't work. And if therapy, a lot of people do therapy. Why are more and more people getting more fucked up if therapy is so large? Because a lot of times the methods in which they're using, they're trying to think things way too complex. A lot of times it's just a simple
No,
I promise
no.
you it's that.
You're
And that-
generalizing
and-
when you say that. So if you're saying that the issues are just there and they're going to therapy, okay, they're not fucking dead, because if they weren't, they would probably just off themselves. So the one issue is solved, but the main core is like, hey, I'm broke as fuck. Life is beating me up and down, but at least I have someone to talk to this shit about. So I think that when you're talking about the surface of, why are you bobbing your knee like that? Is this conversation heating you right now,
Hey,
Dom?
why you
Like,
on my man like that by his bob and knee? You know, why were you
what,
on
Let me
is with
rock.
what is with this pro bono shit, Grey Pill?
why were you on my man by his bob his knee? You know?
Hella glazed, not
Yo,
gonna lie. Great
Let's,
Bill
let's talk
is
about the
yeah.
talking
crazy
points.
right
We
now,
on
bro.
talking about
Great
I'm-
Bill.
I ain't gonna lie, that dub, it did look kind of funny though, but go ahead.
Oh yeah, me bobbing my knee. Yeah, my bad. Go ahead.
Who are you? Yeah.
All
Who are you
right,
looking
well,
at?
listen, I'm gonna be in the Discord. I have to wrap this shit up because I can't drag this shit on any longer. I feel bad that Neve has to sit through 3.5 hours of this already, guys. So
Hey man, W content. Pulled up more content. W.
Dub,
got
I
you.
only disagree with just about everything you said tonight, but I did realize that you are religious, so a lot of your core beliefs come from a book and something that was socially
Hold on.
constructed by other people, in my opinion.
Wow.
But
As
is
the
it-
only one who's been to
Wow.
rehab on the panel twice, I think that Dub was right.
that's fine.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
your
you,
opinion,
Phil.
and I'm not knocking you on it if that's what you
Agree
guys
to
agree on.
disagree. Yeah.
Great. So
I mean,
I'm
what
with
are your
Riddell on
rehab
this.
credentials?
Praise my
Hmm?
Lord and Savior, man. A lot of people around me is happy because of him. So not too much therapy needed. God is my therapy. God bless y'all.
Great solution.
Thank you, Dub.
You're welcome.
Bye bye, Dub.
Well, he just fucked it up, right? So I was agreeing with everything Dub said, and then he just.
Oh,
fucked
you're
it
an
up.
atheist? You're an atheist?
Hey man.
I'm not an atheist. I'm just sort of non-committed.
Non-committed. We'll convert
Alright.
you, brother. It's like, nah, let me stop
Alright.
playing. Let me stop playing.
I'm gonna go to the stream. I understand
Later.
it.